things are streaming now, and we're coming to you in 3, 2, 1, now.
Yo! What's up, inner tubes? We are back. We are back live here in ATX after 1 week off as we got things situated. Get things a little situated, but I think we're back in the groove.
Back in the groove. Back. Wow. My shot's way closer than yours. We took that week off. It was good. It's good to get the refresh going. But now we live, and a lot of stuff's happened. There was things that were going on that we didn't get to talk about since we were off last week.
Yeah.
Big things.
Big ones.
Like historically changing events.
Yeah.
History-changing events.
Yep. Film, change professional wrestling, and the motion picture industry will never be the same again.
I feel like professional wrestling is seeping into reality.
Yeah.
And everywhere. Politics, Hollywood, sports, it's all in there.
It's always been there. That's the thing. But now, before they didn't want to acknowledge it. It was almost like the Stonecutters. They kept that shit underground. But now people are coming right out wearing their NWO Austin 316 shirts. They're wearing their gear, their throwback gear, back to the simpler times. But now, the world is a work. We know, we talked about this in Simulation Theory episode. The world is a work. And you ask any wrestler, before you even finish saying, did you miss fill in the blank competition? They say, that's a work, right? That happens. 100%.
That thing you sent me with Dr. Dutch was really interesting.
Oh, yeah, he broke it down. He broke the entire picture down. But I remember having a conversation in the world-famous Sportatorium with the winner, Barry Horowitz, and Scotty the Palm Beach heartthrob, Mark Anthony. Do you know who that is?
No, who's that?
You know him. He was later to become, quote, the Raven, nevermore.
Oh, Raven.
Yeah, he was there at the Sportatorium, too. And they were talking about at the time how American Gladiators was a work.
Of course it's a work. TV is a work.
Everything's a work, man. Everything's a work. So
movies are a work.
We're gonna get into that. I don't know. Do we want to get into that first?
Let's just do that first because we're kind of late on it, right?
All right. Yeah. No, we're already in it. So we have two people that are kind of like in the same groove as us that are feeling the same thing. These are two combat sports icons. Iron Mike Tyson and the Nature Boy Ric Flair. So Iron Mike Tyson has a show similar to ours called Hot Boxing.
Almost as good.
Yes. And he had Ric Flair on there. And actually Ric Flair said what 90% of the wrestlers think. I was like, that wasn't real, right? So yeah, let's read it. So obviously Ric Flair is very familiar with what I like to call simulated combat. We never use the F word here. Simulated combat with predetermined finishes. But he was on there anyway, and he was talking about how he didn't think the slap was real. And Tyson says, well, if Ric Flair says the slap's not real, then it's not real. And he said, Ric Flair, quoting Ric Flair here from the Mirror, I can't speak for myself. I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for Mike. If I didn't like a remark for any reason whatsoever that somebody said about my wife, I would be punching them, not slapping them. What are your thoughts on that?
When it happened, it was very much Andy Kaufman vibes.
Yeah.
I was like, are they kayfabe the Oscars here? Like, what's going on? But then my mom called me immediately. And she's like, was that real? What's going on? And I was like, and I kind of missed it. I was editing and like I had the Oscars in the background and it just had gone silent and I didn't realize what happened. And then I just hopped on Twitter to get the clips. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh,
yeah. So I was watching on my YouTube TV. Shout out to YouTube where we are right now. Let's get that free subscription. Well, what? But I was watching on YouTube TV and I did the instantaneous rewind, and I had to keep rewinding it because the same thing. First I thought they were laughing. They were both laughing. And that's what got me. And then when Chris Rock kind of leaned into it. And did you notice? And look, Will Smith, he's been in action movies for a long time. That slap looked like somebody who's never thrown a slap before.
Well, I mean, he never got into another fight after that one time in West Philadelphia.
Yeah, where he was born and raised.
Yeah, he didn't accumulate a lot of fighting skills. No, but I mean, he's got movie fighting skills. Like, if you notice, he really like sold it with his shoulder and his head, right?
Yeah.
But it was just like a
limp-wristed
slap. And
Shout
why
out.
a slap? Why does that? Why does
Well,
that pop
that's
in your
what
head?
Tyson and Ric Flair is saying. It's just like, would you not punch him? Or would you not give some kind of warning?
It's just that, that was an actor punch.
It does. Like, he was very close to, you know how NXT got in trouble for doing the leg slaps? It was very close to, I don't think he does it anymore with Dustin Rhodes used to do the slap right as you make contact right there. He would do that. And I felt like Will Smith started to do that and then kind of went, never mind. And it turned like that.
And then when he walked off stage, it was like Wild Wild West. It was like Wild Wild West. He was doing that walk.
Yeah, he was doing the weird Wild Wild West walk, Wild Wild West. So I don't know. It seemed like a work, but everybody, Jim Cornette thought it was a work. Dirty Dutch Mantel had that image that I sent you that pretty much broke down the entire as the hit happened. Because I don't know. I was thinking, like, if somebody was going to slap you, are you going to, like in wrestling, you're going to feed him your chin, right? That's what you call it. If you're leaning into it, you're feeding. Feed me your arm. Feed me your leg. He fed him his chin. And he kind of braced for it. So that's what made it feel like a work. But what's the work? Let's go beyond it, right? Let's go beyond what Ric Flair...
What's the angle?
Yeah, what's the angle? Like, what tickets are you trying to sell? Now, Chris Rock's tickets sales have quadrupled. For every one of his comedy shows are now completely sold out. Like, you're not getting tickets.
Bad Boys 5 has been shut down.
Well, here's the thing. Chris Rock is benefiting from this. Will Smith is not. So Will Smith, all his projects have been put on hold, and he's resigned from the Academy. So what does he get out of this?
There's no upside for him.
No, there is absolutely no upside. Tyson piled on by adding, it would be more than one punch, too. If one was defending their partner, Flair went on to reiterate that his belief that the action simply didn't appear realistic, adding, when you're mad at someone, you don't slap them, you punch them. And that's coming from someone who's thrown a lot of working punches, talking to somebody who's thrown a lot of shoot punches. A lot of punches thrown between the two of them. But I told you, every wrestler thinks everything's a work. But this one feels like a work, but I just can't figure out what the angle is. Now, is the work basically the simulation messing with us? And it was specific to us? Or is it a work where it's a work within the narrative of the simulation and Chris Rock needed ticket sales and the Oscars needed buzz?
I mean, the Oscars definitely needed buzz. And that's more buzz than the Oscars have gotten in years. But I don't think it's good buzz.
No, it's not. Well, like JJ
people
said,
are watching that clip, and they'll watch it forever now.
But will you watch the Oscars next year? Are they going to have the anything can happen feel now? That are you going to tune in next year because of the slap?
I guess maybe. I don't think so. I mean, the Oscars are corny as hell. Like, it's like,
I can tell you that most of the YouTubers that we watch they do not watch the Oscars. Like they one was quoted as saying that it's basically a corpse. And look, I watch it, you watch it, film fans watch it. They've been trying to cater it a little bit more to a modern audience, but movies themselves, films are having trouble catering to a modern audience, and we're going to get into that in a little bit too. But I don't think it's going to cause anybody to tune in. And it was weird because Will Smith now had and Cornette's broadcast partner beat me to it. But I had the thought that was he had his Tom Cruise jumping on the couch moment. Like, now the fourth wall has been broken. You're not going to be able to watch a Will Smith movie for a while without thinking about that. Tom Cruise somehow slowly got back into it, and he started, he's like, okay, I'll stick with Mission Impossible. I do my own stunts. Top Gun is coming out. But remember, for a while, nobody wanted to touch him.
That was, I would
Hollywood
for a short
jail?
amount of time. For a short amount of time. But yeah, he figured out his gimmick with the Mission Impossible and just did his own, every movie has now crazy stunts. I think he's going to outer space as a shoot for the next one.
Oh, yeah, for real, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think people? I guess Hollywood loves to come back. He'll come back.
Yeah.
And they'll do whatever project. Eventually, it'll be cool to like Will Smith again.
But Will Smith, am I wrong? He did a lot of action movies. Like JJ said, someone went to Hollywood Fight School and that's about it. Like, obviously, he forgot to have to throw a punch. But am I wrong?
He was doing something he learned in a class.
Yeah.
That punch was that probably has a specific name that he learned in some sort of fight technique.
It
class.
wasn't, yeah. You watch any Stephanie McMahon slap, and those slaps are a shoot. Like, slaps are one of the things that are 100% a shoot, other than the motive in pro wrestling. You get handprints all the time. Whether it's Ric Flair's knife edge chops, those aren't worked. You're getting hit. You're getting hit really hard in a safe place. And they kind of write that off with the slaps too. So to throw a weird working slap, maybe you would have been better off throwing a stuntman punch. I don't know. But am I wrong to think that was Will Smith as big as The Rock is now? Before, like in the 90s, like Independence Day, Men in Black, Will Smith.
Will Smith is like, he was what The Rock is now.
Right.
And he's kind of over that, and now he's in the period where he's older and he wanted to win an Oscar. That's what he's been trying to do for a little bit now.
Yeah.
He doesn't even do too much. He does action movies, but pretty much like safe bets, I think. But like he's been wanting to win an Oscar for a while, so this was what he was trying to accomplish. He was in a different stage. You know what I mean? 10 years from now, Rock will be trying to win an Oscar.
Yeah, I think so. Remember Will Smith's very first movie? And I want to say like Anthony Michael Hall was in it. And he was like in a suit and he played, he was like a gay lover to Anthony Michael Hall? Did I dream that? Did I make that up?
It's called like 6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah, something. That was like Oscar, right? He got raves for that performance. So like, did he want to? Was that his plan all along? Like, because he never really got into like a funny like his rap was thriving. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. It was kind of thriving during gangster rap era, right? But he was he written off as the Weird Al of gangster rap, right? Because everything had a kind of a comedy, but then
he was like a rap comedian,
right? Parents just don't understand. But then he started doing like real legit, like Bienvenidos y Miami and Summertime, those anthems.
That wasn't until after Fresh Prince.
That was later,
though.
Right?
Like he did his album or two or whatever, and then he did Fresh Prince. And Fresh Prince is what really got him over.
That's what did it, right? So I don't know, but yeah, I if it's a work, he's the only one that's not benefiting from those tickets.
He's not
sales.
benefiting at all, so that's why I don't think it's a work.
But then why was he laughing when he walked off stage? Do you think in wrestling?
Because I think that actors are just weird people. Actors are weird. They're weirdos. I'm sorry, like this is like a hot take, and I hope the internet's gonna like freak out. But like actors generally, if you want to be an actor, you're probably kind of weird.
Yeah, I can buy that.
And I think he's probably super uncomfortable or weirded out with his emotions.
Yeah.
He just didn't know what to do with that anger.
And it kind of turned into laughing.
Anger is like a psychological response to fear.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the core. Yeah, it's a good question. Do you think in wrestling terms, do you think he worked himself into a shoot? Because he was laughing at the joke, and then he was like, maybe his slap came off as hard because he didn't want to slap him. He felt like he had to do something. And then he went up there and was like, I'll just slap him instead of punching him. And that's his way of de-escalating. But then he realized that I need to escalate this again, and then started screaming. Did he work himself into a shoot?
Yes. That's exactly what happened.
You think he worked himself up into a shoot?
I don't know. Well, I mean, it was already a shoot when he slapped him for real. I don't know if he decided that in the moment, or maybe he was planning to do something comedic and then just said, no, I'll hit you instead.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's very well. It did come off as maybe it was supposed to be comedic, and it wasn't. Yeah, it was kind of a dated joke, though, right? Like, how many people knew G.I. Jane? Everybody in the audience knew G.I. Jane.
Well, it's the Oscars. That's
Yeah,
why.
so they
all watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, they knew it, but you think like the general audience wondered who would like I'd argue that a lot of people don't know who G.I. Joe is. I guess The Rock kind of revamped it about 10 years ago for films.
I think G.I. Jane is more known than G.I. Joe, probably.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's like a culturally relevant thing. People remember that movie. Demi Moore shaving her head. It was like a big deal.
It was a big deal. It was a good film, but I just like Chris Rock said afterwards, he's like, "Come on, that was nice." That was his way of saying that was very tame. I mean, he could have went Louis Gossett Jr. and Officer and a Gentleman if you want to do film deep cut and say, "What up, scrotum head?"
Yeah. I mean, he could have just also yelled from his seat. That would have been fine.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised he didn't do that either. But then would Chris Rock, then would he have been the heel if he just yelled from his seat? Because then Chris Rock would have treated him, instead of Will Smith being an assailant,
Well,
he was just been a heckler.
I feel like that's exactly what he should have done. He should have turned Chris Rock heel by like calling out, is like, "Hey, you're making fun of my wife. She has, alopecia. So knock it off,
Yeah.
you heel."
Yeah, he could have did that.
You know what I mean? Then he'd be the babyface, and he'd have won his Oscar as a babyface.
Yeah. And he, I was surprised he won. I really was surprised that he won. And even though I guess it should have been kind of telegraphed that he won, but I was just like, should they have ejected him? If it was a shoot, they didn't eject him.
Well, I mean, the news is that they tried to, and he wouldn't, and
he said no.
There's a lot of back and forth. Like the producer said, don't kick him out, but like someone else wanted to kick him. I don't even know, but there's a lot of controversy over that. So, yeah, I don't know. It made it seem more like a work that he stayed. I think that's why it's also it's confusing.
Yeah.
But then when he gave his speech, that was just like, you could tell there was so much misplaced weird emotion going on there.
Oh yeah, he was.
And I think,
and then they were cutting the screen. Then you thought he was doing something again, right? Because they
they cut.
You're the one that told me. He was like, they're cutting the feed, and I was like, what? And then I saw, why were they cutting the feed? Because he was crying too much.
Yeah, like he had snot.
Oh,
they cut it because of the snot.
Snot feed. Yeah, cut. Oh wow.
They got it. They have a snot button, but they don't have a
slap button.
Don't a slap button.
You know what's going to tell the tale if this makes the highlight reel of the Oscars from years to come, right? Because they still have the guy taking the postcard out of the hand and like Moon Knight. They still show that. So
Did you say Moon Knight?
Oh yeah, what was it? Moonlight?
Moonlight.
Yeah, I did say Moon Knight. I was thinking Moon Knight. I have Moon Knight on the brain because I actually have an icon right here. But yeah, they have that. They have the David Niven streaker from the 70s, right? That still makes it on there. So that was a shoot. Will this be part of the? Will they keep it as part of the highlight reel of the Oscars gone past, or are they going to try to bury it? That's going to tell if it was a work or a shoot.
I don't know, but like you can't really put this on that highlight reel. It doesn't. It's not. Oh, dude with no clothes, run through the frame, or what was the other one?
Yeah, and this one to me personally, this is the other one. This guy should have got slapped. Was the guy who ripped the card out of Warren Beatty's hand and said, "Moon Knight." I did it again. Moonlight. That guy was so obnoxious. Warren Beatty should have smacked the shit out of him. And he just kind of gave this look like, wait, what just happened? Like, he was very cool about it. But that guy was a dick. That guy needed to get slapped. But they still show that.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, that was the most outrageous Oscar moment until now.
Yeah.
Maybe Will Smith couldn't stand someone else having the most outrageous Oscar moment.
Do you remember how exciting that was when it's just like they announced the wrong winner? Oh man, that got a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
The Oscars is doing great on buzz. They're just mastering buzz. They're
Oscars are back.
You just got somebody in there that's pretty much like the Vince Russo of the Oscars is like, bro, here's what you gotta do. Have the Fresh Prince smack the shit out of Chris Rock. Vince Russo is booking the Oscars. He wants Crash TV. What are you gonna do to top it now?
I don't know.
Because it was almost too perfect.
Has Mike Tyson ever given an Oscar? Let him give one to somebody.
Oh my god! Yeah, there was tons of memes, right, of just like The Rock telling that joke, and then Will Smith was like, "Yeah, that's a good one. Let's do another one." So yeah. I don't know, and we don't want to get in Scientology because they'll probably somehow find a way to shut down the stream. But they're kind of 0 for 2 as far as like their poster children of exposing like what's going on there that people kind of lose touch with something.
I don't think a lot of people knew Will Smith was a Scientologist.
I think it's very strange that he is. That is like Philly, born and raised. I don't feel like there's a lot of Scientologists in Philly, right?
Yeah. Let me rephrase what I said earlier. Not all actors are weird. I don't want to get that out into the air and be like.
I don't think weird is an insult.
Yeah, I think what it is when you're like at the level of success and of fame that Will Smith is at, you live in a weird bubble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're a little bit detached from reality. You know?
Yeah.
What happened there?
I lost my cups and then I spilled my beer. Want to go to a Stroh's commercial?
All right. Be right back.
I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were me? America's got this beer. It's called Stroh's Light. And it's fire brewed. You know, it's not like any other beer. So I call the State Department and say, let's make a trade. Our cigars for your Stroh's Light. They say, Fidel, you're going to have to forget about it.
It's not the same as other lights. It's fire brewed Stroh's Light.
We're only 90 miles away. We can't even get a decent beer.
All right, we're back.
All right. Sorry, man. You get all fired up here. And the good news is it was not the weird beer. So we're still covered on the weird beer. It was just a regular beer.
This is a big issue. Like folks want, people get emotional about it.
Yeah, it's you do get very emotional. Oh. All right. We're good. But I don't know. Was there any I don't even remember where you left off. I was fixing that. You were saying something. I don't think, to go back to what you were saying, I don't think weird is necessarily an insult.
That's what I was saying. So, yeah, I just think, when you're at that level of fame and success, you kind of live in a bubble. Everybody tells you everything you want to hear. You know what I mean? And
the yes man thing.
The yes man thing. So I just think that could put you in a weird place and you'll do weird things because you don't really understand how things actually work.
Like a untrained puppy.
Something like that.
Yeah, well, Jason said here, most mainstream actors are Scientologists. Like, why? Like that, speaking of things that are work, that guy who came up with it, L. Ron Hubbard, pretty much came out and said, this is a work.
Yeah.
He said this is a work.
Yeah, he just made it up.
Yeah, he just said he just wanted to do it to prove that he can get a tax break.
Yeah. I think because, well, look, again, we can't really, if we talk about Scientology, they're going to show up here and shut us down. But like, they
yeah, what are they? Do they got like a law school or something?
They do like, they can advance people's careers because they know a lot of people's secrets. That's how I think it works.
Oh man. So maybe they know maybe they understand the.
Are you saying this was a Scientology work?
Is it? Is he? Yeah. I mean, they got him now, right? If he's going to need them more than ever.
That's true.
They're going to need him more than ever, or he's going to need them more than ever. And he's got to be one of their big earners, right? I don't mean to make it sound like.
I think Will Smith gets a good rate.
I was going to say, I don't want to make it sound mafia-like.
He's got a good day rate, I bet.
He's one of their big earners, right? You got. Oh, and then on the same night, is it a coincidence that John Travolta, who is another one of their big earners, showed up on stage and did the Pulp Fiction dance? They had the Pulp Fiction reunion.
I mean, I think half the people on stage are probably Scientologists.
Oh, yeah. Which is... You've seen the center, how big it is, in the one in L.A.
I've just seen pictures.
I mean, they have one here. I don't know if it's still here on the drag. Is it down here in Austin?
I have no
one
idea.
on the drag. Yeah, they had one here on the drag. Anyway, before I get off the John Travolta train, and while that's fresh on the brain, I'm not going to say this live on the air until he joins us and gives me permission to join it. But the title of Nick Cage's new movie, The Immense Weight. What is it? The Immense Weight of Massive Talent?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my hair. It's fucking.
No, it's all good. So Mike, friend of the show, Mike, he's been on the pod. He's been on the audio version. He came up with the most brilliant sequel title to that movie, which we haven't already seen, but we know we're going to love it. And it's got Nick Cage. I can just tell you, it involves John Travolta. And when you hear this title, I told him instantly, you need to trademark that and put it out and just pitch it. It's that good. They're going to take it.
What is it?
I can't say it. I don't want to say it.
Oh, because you'll give it away.
I don't want to give it away. I want to make sure he's okay with it because it's that good. It is that good.
You can tell me off mic?
Yeah, I can tell you off mic because it's basically, if you thought Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo was the best sequel title ever, you have not heard this title yet. If you thought Beyond the Planet of the Apes is the best sequel title, you haven't heard this title yet. I'll tell you during one of our Stroh's breaks.
All right, here's a word.
But I can tell you it's related to John Travolta.
Is it long? You can tell me over Stroh's commercial?
Well, I guess it's the subtitle of the title. So you got say that title again, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent 2 - this.
Okay, word from Stroh's.
Okay.
Where are you going?
To get a Stroh's.
That's about a 200-mile hike through heavy snow.
I know.
If you think of it, get two.
From one beer lover to another Stroh's.
70-ish.
Okay, so yeah, that's a pretty good title.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right? So we'll wait till Mike
good.
before we can share it out because I don't want to. It's his. I don't want to.
And I also I know who I'd have in mind to direct.
Oh, you already got a director. Okay.
2 directors.
I don't want to take his shine. This is his shine. I'm gonna do the Hogan thing, and you walk out and you point and let Ultimate Warrior flex because this was like I told him just take a lap like the Natural, just take that lap. But back on the Scientology thing, Jason here said Scientology had ties to Anton LaVey in the 60s and 70s. Who is that? Is that the?
That's like the Church of Satan guy.
The Satan guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was. That's bananas. Did you ever? What do you remember the movie with John Travolta that was based on the L. Ron Hubbard book? And originally John Travolta was going to
Battlefield Earth.
Yes, and originally he was going to play the lead, but then he got older and he got bigger, so then he actually played the main antagonist, if you will. But
I've never seen that movie. Have you seen it?
no, I did not see it.
I just never really got around. I was like, I don't know. I didn't even want to see it, as a goof.
Yeah, no, I don't know, and we're gonna get into that, but yeah, we're gonna actually use that to segue, and we don't have to jump to a commercial. You want to just jump right in? Let's just jump in and talk about it. Morbius. Speaking of going to see things for a goof.
Morbius, the movie, starring Jared Leto as Michael Morbius, finally came out. They shot it like 5 years ago.
Dr. Michael Morbius, yes.
He's a vampire doctor.
He's a vampire doctor.
Dr. Acula.
That's good.
That's from a movie. Anyway,
okay.
Ed Wood.
But so you didn't see it, and you did the right thing. I mean, here's the thing, because how do you not support a movie, but you still got to see it to form an opinion?
What do you mean?
Do you sneak in? Do you just pirate it to spite it? Like, you have to. if you're playing by the rules, you got to pay to see the movie. But now they got your dollars, and it's just
Oh,
like,
I see what
you
you're
paid
saying.
to see it, so it must be working. But it's just like, and I wanted to see it, and of course, I'm a Spider-Man fan. So if you got somebody Morbius, and I remember Morbius from the '90s cartoon, so I had to go see it. Well, I didn't have to, but I chose to go see it because I needed to see it, and what we suspected was true.
What
Everybody said.
How did you? I didn't see it. I'm not gonna see it. What is your? Give me the review.
Well, I mean, I'm not deep. I didn't go to film school like you did, so you have the ability to tell, and you can see the reshoots, the inserts, if you will. And I'm not good at spotting them, but I was able to spot them in this. But I guess because it was a little bit more evident because there was a lot more cut stuff. You know, these days, just because it's in the trailer doesn't mean it's going to be in the film. But they cut all the stuff that was trying to lure people to see the movie, you know, especially with Michael Keaton. They cut all that stuff, but then they reshot stuff with Michael Keaton and made it make less sense.
Everybody tries to like replicate the Marvel formula, and now Sony is like, you know, whatever. They're like Marvel's brother-in-law that they don't like, and like
No.
they're trying to do a similar thing and like build a universe or whatever. And it's just like, it doesn't work out. You can't do it in a hurry. Like they did it over like 10 or 15 years, you know?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they want to try and build something. I mean, why? First of all, why would you even cut out the Spider-Man stuff? Like that doesn't make any sense. Spider-Man just happened and it was the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
So why would you take? And now you have like 4 Spider-Mans. Just use one. Just put one in there.
Well, let's throw the spoiler warning so we can get deeper into this conversation. So here's the rumor, right? So they reshot it. At the end, none of this was part of the main film. If this film was just a standalone origin story, it would have been fine. But they were tricking people to say it's part of the MCU. They had a post-credit scene where you saw purple skies opening up. And it was the same purple cracking skies that we saw in Spider-Man No Way Home. We've seen in the Doctor Strange trailer. And then mysteriously, Michael Keaton, playing the Vulture, appears in the prison cell where Morbius was.
This is the post credit.
This is post credit. So they completely reshot it. So that whole scene that like, hey, Dr. Morbius, we should keep in touch. All gone. That was the stuff in the trailer. All gone. So they replaced it with this scene, and he's like, whoa, what am I doing here? It's just like, okay, well, I hope the food's better in this joint. And then they had a little news. This is where I noticed your insert, a little news insert that says, you know, this guy, you know, Vulture, I don't know why his name's not sticking in my brain, his shoot name, mysteriously appeared in this prison, and there's no record of him existing, so we have no right to hold him. So we got to let him go. So what they're alluding to is the rules that were set up in their last movie, in Sony's movie, where everybody who knew Peter Parker was getting pulled into this universe and then remember at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, they all got sent back to their OG universe. Why did this guy, Adrian Toomes, get sent to this universe? Was this his origin universe? Or did they say whatever reason the spell worked in reverse? So we don't know yet. And maybe you can fix it in Doctor Strange, but I don't think they're going to fix it in Doctor Strange. But then doesn't matter. Then they countered that with another post-credit scene that has Adrian Toomes in his Vulture gimmick with all the Chitauri tech that he used. Remember, he built that in Spider-Man Homecoming. He used the Chitauri tech from the Battle of New York from the original Avengers to build his suit.
Yeah, he just got a new suit.
So that suit how did he get that new suit? Because that did not take place in that universe. How did he get that suit? Because he's just showed up in the prison with a prison jumpsuit on.
Maybe there's other space garbage in this universe, and he migrated to it. He's
yeah,
like,
it was a pretty quick jump. And then
build me a suit of a bird suit.
Yeah, and I think Morbius basically they were calling him an anti-hero. No, he was a babyface. The people he killed were all the expected. Like, these guys were pirates. You did us a favor. You didn't kill any of the guys that you shouldn't have killed. And then he went and met him in this nice car. He went driving up, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I think it has something to do with Spider-Man, but we should team up. And Morbius is like, interesting. I'm intrigued or something. And it was just like, he's not even part of the original Sinister Six, if that's what they're trying to do. But
you're saying, are they talking about Spider-Man?
Yeah.
They say Spider-Man?
They say Spider-Man.
But no one's ever said Spider-Man in Morbius or in Venom. No. Venom?
No, just the post-credit, right, when he saw that guy.
That was in Venom?
On the TV. Yeah, that was a post-credit for Venom. And then the post-credit for No Way Home was Venom talking to the bartender, and then he went back. It's very convoluted. And I told you, I had a dream about this. I had a dream that you and I started an online petition that basically was going to say, stop Sony from using Marvel characters without consultation from Marvel Studios. I think we need to start that.
You said it's like a change.org?
Yeah, because I think it's dangerous. They own Venom. And what did you think of Venom? To me, Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage also had a ton of holes. The problem was that Tom Hardy was so good as Venom, he had the same problem that Margot Robbie had as Harley Quinn. That she's just so good as the character, you're overlooking a lot of the flaws.
I kind of think Venom 1 was okay. I think they kind of just lucked out that it worked.
Yeah.
Somehow they just, I guess because the director was pretty talented. And then part 2 was just gibberish. I couldn't even.
Okay.
I couldn't, that one just seemed, it didn't make any sense. Like the tone was all weird. And this, you could tell that this was like, okay, not everyone can execute this idea because this idea is ridiculous.
And this is where the danger lies. This is where the danger lies. Or Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 4. This is where the power lies. The danger lies in, they're calling it the Venomverse. They're not even calling it so they're calling it the Venom universe. They've made 3 movies with Marvel characters without MCU input, and those 3 films were Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius. That's dangerous. And they have another slew. They got Kraven coming out. They're talking about Madam Web. And look, I guess feel like they got cred because they're making, they made Into the Spider-Verse, which people loved. But that was animated. That's different. Live action is a little different to pull that off, which, by the way, they also showed the trailer for the second Into the Spider-Verse during
I would
that.
like to see that. Is that online yet?
It should be online, yeah. It was actually, and it looked really good. Here's what I think they should do. Just like, fine, you guys pulled it off with the animation, stick to that. But if you want to do live action, you have to talk to us. I don't think this new generation of movie audience is way too savvy to pull this off, to pull the wool over their eyes. Because it came out quick, and they had backlash before the film even came out, to the point where the director tweeted out the ending and was trying to already defend and explain what the decisions he made for a film that hadn't been released yet.
Yeah,
that's dangerous.
They knew what they had.
Yeah, they were in trouble.
They were about to drop it,
But they did the reshoots, and then the reshoots were worse. But when I was looking at Box Office Mojo, it made money. Like, now, how much money? I don't know. So they're talking about 88 worldwide. And I don't know if that, when they count marketing, how much money they really sunk into it. But it had to be more than a $100 million film. There was a lot of effects in there.
Don't know. We can look it up.
That's just, I don't know. I think somebody's got to stop Sony. Remember, here's the funny, we almost did not get Spider-Man No Way Home if it wasn't for a drunk phone call from Tom Holland. He saved that Spider-Man connection.
How's that?
Because he literally called the head of and he's like, you cannot break this relationship. I'm not going to want to do it. You're going to ruin everything. He basically guilted him into making this deal happen. And that's what got another Spider-Man film by Marvel Studios and another team-up film, which hasn't been released yet.
And he was right.
He was 100% right. And now they got the third highest grossing domestic film of all time.
$75 million budget for Morbius.
Morbius.
That's a good chunk of change.
Yeah. They're already somewhat in the black again.
And they usually, for marketing, they usually spend double. They spend like whatever the budget is. That's how much they spend on marketing as well. That's like times 2.
Man, so they're not there yet, and I think it's going to have a massive drop. I think it's going to have a massive drop this week, this second week that it's coming out. So I don't know. Do we start this? Do we want to be the change in the world we want to see? Do we start a change.org?
Is this the site right here?
That's it. The platform, start a petition. Do we want to be the change?
What are we calling this?
Like, I don't know. How aggressive do we want to be? Do we call it Stop Sony Pictures?
We want to shut down the studio completely?
No. Stop Sony Pictures from creating Marvel projects without input from Marvel Studios?
Should I do all caps?
Should you yell on there? I don't know. I don't know what the etiquette is. I've signed petitions. I've never created a petition. Stop Sony Pictures from
making Marvel films?
Marvel films without input from Marvel Studios.
People just watching me type. You got to talk over it.
Yeah. Without are we gonna make the word count?
Oh, let's see.
Stop Sony Pictures from making Marvel films without input from Marvel Studios. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we made the word count. Should I put like 13 exclamation points?
Yeah, no, just finish it. 100 words right on the knot. You can count them if you want. I wish there was a way that we can go on Box Office Mojo and see how much Sony has made with those 3 films, because
I think they ruined the Box Office Mojo. I don't know that it even works anymore.
I know. That's what I feel like before. I feel like you could have built these reports and you could have got them, but it's almost impossible now. It looks like it's just like, should I be ordering socks or am I trying to look at box office stuff? So Venom, so that was 88 million. So here's the problem. Venom made $500,000 worldwide. That's
half a billion?
$500 million. $500 million. That's Venom 2. Venom 1 made almost $1 billion. 3/4, $856 million. They've made a lot of money. But here's the difference. Okay, so those are the 3 without Marvel. With Marvel, so let's go to Spider-Man. Spider-Man. No way. Oh, and I guess we can't count the original Spider, like the Sam Raimi and the Andrew Webb.
No, what? No, they can have those. Why not? They're theirs.
No, but I mean here's the problem. They are making money. So No Way Home, though, made $1.8 billion. So I'm not an accountant, but the ones that you make with Marvel Studios help. I don't know if they fully make it. I don't know if it's like a co-funded project. I'm not sure. They make a lot more money.
It's Sony's thing. Like, I think Sony owns most of it. I think Marvel gets just a little piece, but they get to use the Spider-Man character.
So why would you want to break that relationship? So Homecoming was
because you don't want to give up that other piece. You want the whole slice of the pie.
So Greed. Gordon Gekko is running Sony Pictures.
That's what drives it, man.
Greed. That sucks. Because I just don't think the audience is too savvy. But they're making the money, so it's making them feel a little bit bold. And it's kind of my fault. Should I have pirated this so that I didn't get the support?
I'll tell you exactly what you should have done, since you asked this earlier and I didn't get a chance to tell you. If you don't want, because it used to be back in the day, you could buy a ticket to another movie and then go, then watch that, right? Buy a ticket for something. You can't really do that anymore because everywhere's like assigned seating and all that stuff.
Correct.
Now.
Yep.
So I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Ready for a shoot?
Yep. Here we go.
Get your AMC app or whatever. Go to the AMC theater, or maybe to Regal, one of those regular theaters. Okay. Go to the app. On the app, you can buy and pick out your seat, right?
Right.
And then you can look on the app in other theaters and see what seats are open, and then migrate to the other theater.
Oh, and then work your way over. So
Yeah.
so pick a film that needs the support.
Yeah,
So you're almost doing good.
you're doing good. Yeah,
You're doing good. You're not hurting. You're supporting another film because they get your dollars, but then you get to quell the itch and be able to review something properly. Because I didn't want to, I needed to know. Dirty Harry, hey, I gots to know. I needed to know if there was another bullet in that chamber, and there was. And there was. But here, poor Jared Leto, man. This guy is like an Oscar-winning actor, and nobody knows what to do with him except the man, the myth, the legend, Zack Snyder. Is he the only one that knows how to book Jared Leto as a comic book character? Because it didn't work in the Suicide Squad. I don't know about the error cut. I never saw the error cut, but
I didn't mind that Joker.
no,
I thought it was an interesting take. I kind of liked it. I liked Scarface Joker. That's cool.
Yeah,
It just didn't. It was in the wrong movie, and they didn't do anything with it.
No, that's
but
the
I mean,
thing.
could you imagine like a different kind of a Batman taking him on? I feel like it could have worked. Could have worked somewhere.
Well, yeah, it absolutely could have worked because if you watched Zack Snyder's Justice League, it did work.
But Zack Snyder did it kind of different than Ayer, right? Because
Yeah, he
David
did.
Ayer's the one that did sort of the gangster Joker.
Yeah.
And,
And he wasn't that.
in Snyder's, he's like the crazy Joker.
Yeah, because I mean, that was the whole thing, right? Injustice was pretty much his fault. He set off the nuke and he killed Lois Lane. So I mean, it was kind of his fault. So he had to have been a little bit crazy at that point. So you like Gangster Joker?
I was into it. I thought it worked fine. I didn't like. I mean, the Suicide Squad movie kind of sucked, but I thought Joker worked pretty cool, and I wouldn't have mind seeing just that Joker with a Batman, and that's it. You know?
Yeah. So what are your feelings on this petition? Do we need to stop? Do we stop Sony? Like, how do we stop them?
I mean, if you feel strongly about it, then I'm sure there's other people out there that feel strongly about it, and maybe you could like bring them together, and it would make it. It'd be good for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Because eventually they would make better films and make better movies. Like they'd make more money if they just do that.
That's the thing. It's like we're trying to help them make more money. That's what's crazy. It's just like we're not going to make money by you doing this, right? But I mean, it's just going to be. And again, I don't want to say I don't like I don't want to say I didn't like the film, and I'm way more forgiving films with film than you are. I'm definitely way more forgiving. So saying I disliked it is not the right words, but I felt that the marketing behind it and the essence they were trying to create was disingenuous. Where if they should have just said, "No, this is just like they did with Joaquin Phoenix and Joker. No, this is just Joker. There's going to be no connective tissue. There's no nothing." I guess the equivalent would have been if you saw the Joaquin Phoenix Joker trailer and then for some reason they show Christian Bale pop his head in and look. And then you're like, oh, this is connected. But then he's not in the film. But then they have a post-credit scene and he's in it, but he's not Batman.
Right.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. It's. I don't know.
It's making.
I don't know why you would. You own Spider-Man. You own. You have several. You've got a bunch. So why would you cut him? Why would you cut all that out of the movie? What for? What's the benefit there? Is Marvel or Marvel Studios like, don't use Toby or Andrew? We got stuff for them to do as well.
Well, here's the rumor. The rumor was that here we're trying to build Sony as the heel and Marvel Studios as the babyface. But there's also a rumor that said Marvel got an early cut of Morbius and said, you need to cut out all those references. We want nothing to show that there's any connective tissue to our universe with this film. So that's when they started making their own. That was the rumor.
Look, we got an interesting chat message.
George Floyd deserved the white lives. The woke left Marvel giving more attention to than it needed. Yeah, and it's hard because I mean, let's face, this is Disney versus Sony. Like, why are we defending these two conglomerates? Right? I don't know. I maybe we don't. Maybe we just let it. Maybe we do the Heath Ledger Joker and we just watch their world burn. But we're all pretty happy with what they're doing with Marvel, but we're not happy with what they're doing with Star Wars. I don't know. What do you think?
I need to hear that again. Sorry, I was working on something.
No, it's all good. Do we care? Is this worth being the change? Like, do we want to just get in the battle between these $2 billion conglomerates? Do we just let them battle it out, or do we just let whatever happens?
It depends. Like when there's two ways things can go. Like when there's like a bar fight going on or something like that. It's always been like, okay, there's two ways. Someone will jump in and break it up, right? Try and do the right thing.
Yep.
Or someone will hold everybody else back and say, let them work it out. Which one are we doing?
I don't know. I want to enjoy. We're creators, so I mean, I don't want to crap on people for making a living, making money. I'm sure the director had his motives and he had his reasons. I feel like the problem is the studios. I feel like this had a lot more to do, again, with more studio meddling, maybe on both sides.
It feels like decisions are just being made after the fact here. Because I don't know if you've heard this about Marvel. Their movies are like really fluid.
Yeah.
You know? They're kind of like they've got their everything down now. They've got their technique down so well that they're making the movie, kind of making them up as they go. They don't have full scripts when they start, and they swerve in the middle. And I think they've got that down. But other studios, I mean, like Sony cannot be doing that. You know,
Lucasfilm can be doing it, and that's a sibling company, and they're not fluid.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get.
Well, they're more fluid now that they got the volumes.
Yeah, the volumes are helping, but yeah, you're right. Feige, maybe. I mean, is Feige like the perfect balance between money generating and friendly to the wallet, and also friendly to the soul? Like he is good for creative as he is for business.
I don't know. I don't think so. I just think he built a good company.
Yeah.
He's got a good company going. Because, I mean, it's not like Sam Raimi is like the most altruistic director that they've ever used, I think. A guy who has his own look and his own vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how crazy they let him go. But everyone else, it's like he just hires good people. He gets directors off the indies and trains them how to do Marvel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've got, and we can say this for a shoot, like the Marvel effects are kind of crappy sometimes. Mm-hmm. They don't look good. But, you know, what they don't get in like the quality of the effects, they can do them fast. And you know what I mean? And
right.
They can change stuff and they can swerve. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy to me that somewhere out there's like there's an Infinity War scene where Doctor Strange and Tony Stark like switch suits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That exists, but they were we just tossed it.
Oh my gosh. You saw the picture of Bruce Campbell dressed up as a Doctor Strange variant, speaking of Sam Raimi?
Yeah, you think that's work?
It's pretty cool if it is. It's
Bruce in the original Spider-Man 4 script that Sam Raimi was going to do before they shut it down, Bruce Campbell was going to play Mysterio.
Oh, yes, he was. And John Malkovich was going to be the Vulture. In a different world.
Yeah.
And now that's all canon, right? Because everything is a variant.
Well, can it be canon if they never filmed it?
Man, I'd like to say so just because I want to live in a world where Nicolas Cage was Superman. But
That would have been an interesting movie.
yeah,
I would have liked to see that.
that would have been interesting. Are you at all concerned for funny? It's the actor could be the victim. Are you at all concerned with Andrew Garfield? Because the rumor would be he would be the Spider-Man in this Sinister Six movie that they're making.
Am I concerned about that?
Well, just because were you happy with the Amazing Web 1 or Amazing 2?
I honestly couldn't get through those. I saw half of the first one and I never saw the second one.
So
Something about it didn't appeal to me.
it didn't work. But it worked. I mean, again, they have this ability to still make money when something doesn't work. It's a WWE problem. But although WWE did good with Mania, so we'll get into that. But it's a WWE problem that they're able to make enough money if you just make it good enough. But why do we have to have this Dr. Evil issue of just like why make billions when we can make millions? Like why? Like if you can do it right, shouldn't you just do it right? I mean, is it fair to say that Andrew Garfield bordered on stealing the show in Spider-Man: No Way Home, becoming? Everybody loves Tom Holland as like hands down the best Spider-Man, but after seeing him next to Andrew Garfield, it's just like wow, maybe this guy just didn't get a really good swing because they feel like he tried to steal the show.
Well, he's getting sympathy because his movies were so disliked.
Yeah.
So he's getting a lot of sympathy from the audience.
And now he's beloved. But who did that? That was Marvel, right? That was Marvel input. They made sure that they booked him properly. They got somebody with the pencil that actually took the time to look at all sides. I don't know. Maybe we still start. Maybe we just do this. Maybe we be the change. Maybe we be the change and we just put it out there and let's see what happens. We just want them to be successful, right? It's not like we want it to fail. I don't know. We'll have to write it out. Like we'll have to,
I got to write this out. I thought it was just one click. I thought
Yeah,
I was
no.
done. I thought we were done already.
Yeah, no. There's some. It'll take a little bit more doing in there, but I don't know. Do we have to get pictures to document? Do we need box office, or just we let it be? Are you going to see Morbius?
No, I don't think I'll
No.
see it. I mean, maybe if it comes on TNT on a Saturday afternoon.
That you might check it out. I can tell you that you're not going to like it.
I wasn't interested. I have no. It's cool. There's already enough superheroes. You don't got to see them all.
Yeah, that. But
Wait, is he a superhero or a villain?
Yeah, he's an anti-hero. But yeah, Venom. I thought was always a heel, but he was closer to where he worked with Spider-Man. He's a living vampire. He's not a dead vampire, but there could have been some really good crossover with Blade. I'm just saying. They would have been better off taking Morbius and building it in the direction of Blade than in the direction that they're choosing. I don't want him to be part of the Sinister Six, but I don't get a vote, so I don't know. But I don't know. We live in a world where we get a lot of. Are we getting to the point where there's already a lot of hate for superhero films? Do we live in a world like you just said now that there's so much out there, you're not gonna see them all? Like there's a lot of buzz going around about Miss Marvel that a lot of people they're like, oh, that looks like a CW show. I'm probably not even gonna watch it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's like people say nowadays, it's a genre now. People say, what kind of movie is it? It's a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And it's like a thing.
It is a genre. Man. But I was under the impression that this was a continuing narrative and you kind of had to watch all of them to kind of keep up. But then that kind of keeps a lot of people on the outside because it's like trying to catch up on Doctor Who. Like, where the hell do you start? Like, if that happens with Marvel, maybe they do have to have these little throwaways that you're gonna miss, and maybe Morbius just gets in that mess. Because I can tell you, I don't think there's gonna be a Morbius 2, but you still might see him pop up in other films. I think Sony's gonna go for it unless we stop them with Change.org. I think they're just gonna move forward with their plan.
If it makes money, why not make another one?
It made enough money because they got my money because I didn't know your strategy. They got my money. Maybe I should have supported another film and then snuck in to see that, but it didn't happen. So I don't know. That's probably enough Morbius. So I'm kind of foaming at the mouth anyway.
You're getting thirsty.
Yeah, I'm getting a little thirsty. So do you want to? What do you want to do next? You want to grab our weird beer? I already smell like beer. It's ironic. I got my Austin 316 shirt and I smell like beer. Throw me a beer. So we can do a Stroh's commercial and I'll go grab our weird beer.
Yeah, here's a word from.
Here's a
Stroh's.
word from our sponsor.
I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were me? America's got this beer. It's called Stroh's Light. And it's fire brewed. You know, it's not like any other beer. So I called the State Department and say, let's make a trade. Our cigars for your Stroh's Light. They say, Fidel, you're going to have to forget about it.
It's not the same as other lights. It's fire brewed Stroh's Light.
We're only 90 miles away. We can't even get a decent beer.
Where are you going?
To get a Stroh's.
That's about a 200-mile hike through heavy snow.
I know.
If you think of it, get two.
From one beer lover to another Stroh's.
All right.
Okay, we're back.
We are back. Get all situated here. That's still smell like beer, man. Your joint's gonna smell like beer. Sorry about that. I was just like, I fixed it. I didn't. I broke it. But it is that time. We got thirsty, and we got weird beer, and we got a good one. It looks like you got a good one here today. Wait a minute. Is this based on a film?
Is it? Shall we show it? Let's spin that around.
Yeah. Let's go to Gimmick. Hop Fusion Ale Works presents Feisty Blonde. This ain't your mama's blonde. Oh, I didn't know my mama had a blonde.
This bronze and golden ale combines deeply aromatic orange blossom honey with a touch of pure Mexican vanilla and a raw pilanancho. Sorry, I don't know that word. To round out its smooth finish, brewed with 4 grains and 2 varieties of hops for balanced but unpasteurized and unfiltered to allow the natural essence of citrus blossom to shine.
It looks great. I love the artwork on here. What do you you're not seeing the movie poster?
What's that? No, what movie poster is that?
I'm seeing Almost Famous.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, I was just catching up. I didn't know that there was madness in the chat going on. So yeah, I was just catching up on that. I'm seeing Almost Famous. This looks like, man, what happened to Goldie Hawn's daughter? That was her, right? Yeah, that was her.
Yeah, that's I get she married Coldplay, I think.
She married
and retired.
Maybe she just retired. I thought that, but yeah, this film was great. But that's what it looks like here. But this sucker's got 8.27.
It's a good one here. Let's go back to the close up there. 8.27, and it's a honey vanilla blonde. So I'm anticipating not too hoppy, maybe a little sweet. I don't know. Oh, let me look up the Hop Fusion site. I forgot to do that ahead of time. Why don't you vamp a little bit?
Yeah, I was.
What?
Tap room open 6 days a week. So is this an awesome? Oh no, this is Fort Worth. If Fort Worth ever crosses your mind, it's brewed in packages in Hop Fusion Ale Works. Honey Vanilla Blonde. 8.27.
Fort Worth. Okay, yeah.
It looks pretty good.
They got some other stuff.
While you do that, you want me to do the pop?
Yeah.
Let me do the pop, and then I'll set up Senor Pancho. Here we go. Okay, good. I'm going to see if I can do this on the close-up. Here we go.
Nice and easy.
Let me move. I'm going to pour it right on Senor Pancho's head.
Looks tasty.
Yeah. You got your own.
Oh, look. Hop Fusion Aleworks has a karaoke night.
Oh, shit.
There you go.
You can go hijack that. Nice head. Look at that.
Boom. It looks a lot darker than I thought it would.
Yeah, you're seeing that amber. And since I've saved all my carbs for this specific segment, I am going to be a stats nerd, and I'm going to count this in my food journal. Oh, not in the database. Okay. We'll still count it. But let's let's tip a...
Hold on, I haven't even opened it.
Oh, yeah.
A second.
It's got some... All right, ready?
Yeah.
Let's
You
do
good? What's distracting you over there?
I completely lost my train of thought. Cheers. Salud.
Cheers, man. Oh, wow. That tastes like Honey Bunches of Oats kind of cereal.
We're gonna tempt your tummy with a taste of nuts. No, that's Honey Nut Cheerios. Never mind.
But it's got that breakfast cereal kind of taste. You taste it in there?
Yeah, I do. Like if you let the Honey Nut Cheerios or the honeycomb sit in the milk too long.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe. Oh man, I wish we could have pulled up the Andre the Giant commercial in the honeycombs. It's really big. Remember that one?
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember Andre the Giant in the honeycombs commercial when he broke into the kids' treehouse and they completely just used a different voice because Andre was really difficult to understand.
Was he doing his Princess Bride gimmick?
No, he was Andre the Giant. He was just straight up Andre the Giant.
Are you sure?
It's up there with one of the best commercials since Ultimate Warrior. Oh, there you go.
He's doing Princess Bride.
Oh, he does have this. Yeah, he does have the same wardrobe. Awesome. That's great.
Hey, work is work.
Yeah, work is work. That commercial always makes me smile, and Ultimate Warrior on the Slim Jim commercial, because everyone knows Macho Man is the Slim Jim guy. But there was one commercial where, because you know the story behind that, right? While we're drinking, we're telling stories and telling tall tales and drinking beer.
I do. I remember a little bit, but why don't you tell me again?
But Macho Man was the spokesperson for Slim Jim. Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah. And then when he was leaving for WCW, WWE was under the impression that they had the Slim Jim contract was with the entire company. Somehow Macho Man gimmicked it to where the contract was just with him, and he took that sponsorship with him to WCW.
Right.
And kept it alive there. So it's like, no, you're not sponsoring WWE. You're sponsoring the Macho Man, Randy Savage, which to Slim Jim's benefit, maybe it worked out because Macho Man is associated with that. But there was that one commercial where, if you want to pull it up, where Ultimate Warrior actually did a Slim Jim commercial.
Can YouTube shut us down for playing commercials?
There's no music in this one. And it does say snap into a Slim Jim, which you associate with Macho Man Randy Savage, but it was Ultimate Warrior. These two kids were in their garage, and they were kind of looking, I don't know if they were looking at antiques or something.
Kids shopping for antiques like kids do.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's it. Let's watch that.
I don't know. What do you want to do? You boys a bit bored?
He doesn't have the same vibe as Macho Man. He's like, eat this snack or I'll rip you to pieces.
Exactly.
And I'll murder your family.
Crazy, right? It was very threatening. There was probably a bunch of people on the Slim Jim board of directors. Imagine out there's a Slim Jim board of directors out there. They were probably like, ooh, I don't know about that one.
I don't think that's going to make people want to eat dried beef sticks.
The 90s was just madness. Every commercial was just about absolute madness. I feel like that could have been any commercial. But anyway, yeah, so they took it with him. But yeah, we went down a dirt road when we started talking about honey.
That's what this segment is about. And I forget I called it a segment. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the what do we call it?
Nothing. I don't know.
We call it nothing. It's
just a thing.
Just two guys drinking beer,
Talking about
learning about Cuba, having some food. But
I was very excited. I got the Spicoli shoes the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
The checkers?
The checkers.
Oh, yeah.
They're brown.
Oh, I love that. I still do that, and the people who don't appreciate it don't understand what they're doing. They're like, "Why are you hitting yourself in the head?"
Yeah.
It's my skull. I'm so wasted.
I was like, Luciolati's a big mark for Vans, and I don't really wear them all that much, but I got them, and I'm like, wow, I get it now. Slip-on shoes.
Oh man,
Awesome. That's way easier than laces.
yeah, you're done. You'll be done with laces unless you're just wanting to like going out. To like my son went to the prom and he had these great kicks that he got that match his shoes. That's when laces are almost formal now. Laces are formal wear. You're gonna do socks and sandals. You're gonna do Vans. Laces after lockdown. Laces are like, come on, you're gonna really seriously make me tie my shoe? What is this, 2018? Like, I'm done tying shoes. Done.
Yeah, I mean, in Back to the Future, by this point, they had the auto shoes.
Yeah.
And we're still tying our shoes
We're
like
still like freaking cavemen. It's like, seriously? You're making me tie my shoe? Am I supposed to go hunt and gather too?
Like, why
with
is
my
there not an
tribe mates?
app for that already?
A shoe tying app? Can you imagine you getting alert that your shoe's untied?
Yes. I would like to know that information.
Yeah, that would
It just
be
pings
good.
right to my watch. I check, my shoe's untied. I better
You
tie
just
my shoe.
it just-
Oh, wait, I don't need to. They're slip-on.
That would be great. And then you just like, oh, you want your zippers undone? That's a different plugin. You'll need an API for that. So you're just like, if you want to know if your zipper's down too. But yeah, I'm surprised we don't have alerts for that. That would be good.
Need to get on that. Get the research team on that. Wait, just ping Elon Musk on Twitter.
Yes. Yeah, he just said, like, he just did a tweet that was just kind of like, oh, hey, what's up? And it's just like, you got so much. That guy's like, what is his deal? Has he basically told the world he's Iron Man yet? Because he's probably the closest thing we have to like the Bruce Wayne or the Tony Stark in this world is Elon Musk, right?
I guess, but I mean, he doesn't fight any crime.
He did challenge Putin to a fight.
That's not like fighting crime, though.
No, that's fighting a dictator, though. That's like Captain America versus Hitler, that comic book.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
There's just like, and especially since it's just right down the street, we should just go there at like 2 a.m, go to the new Tesla factory and see if we can see something flying around. Because, right, the rule of thumb is if you see a piece of technology in a film, that piece of technology is already 5 to 10 years old.
Is that a shoot?
That's a shoot. That's what I've always heard. So if you see it in a film that's already old and they're like, okay, we can get it out there. So if he's going to have a flying suit, he's going to fly it around that factory. Like, you can go down there and test drive the Teslas now.
No, I didn't know that. They're open now?
Open-ish.
Weren't they supposed to have like a huge party?
The biggest barbecue in the history of Texas. Are you going to go?
I don't know, I guess.
I mean, I guess if it's free food, I might give it a shot.
Hey, Lizon, what's up?
Yes, dude.
Dude, have you seen Musk before the hair plugs?
I did see that. That was very disturbing. Yeah, it was very disturbing. I don't know why, but it's almost that same. But then you get used to it. Like, remember when John Cena pretty much had no hair left, and now the Peacemaker has all his hair there, and everything's fine, and it doesn't seem out of place anymore.
It's like, is it plugs or wigs?
I don't know. Is it the relocation? Like, we take hair from your back and we put it on your head.
I think it's wigs, man.
You think it's a wig?
I think they've gotten really good with wig technology now, so you can just do that instead of having a surgical procedure.
That you just go with a wig?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Because if you got like plugs and stuff, you got to maintain that. And like, if you're an actor, there's always other people doing your hair and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's easier just to be like, I got these fitted pieces and just like stick them on me with some Scotch tape and just roll with it.
just stick it on there. Yeah, I think. Well, ever notice with the female wrestlers that like their hair always doesn't look, even like when they're sweaty and they're really grinding, but the hair still looks perfectly flat and looks good. But then we saw it was the professor, Serena Deeb, who clearly doesn't have any extensions because she shows what your hair will look like under those lights and sweating when you're not wearing fake hair. And just like, oh man, so maybe you're just getting that weave.
What's Lee saying? More Uncle Tony than Tony Stark?
Or more weird Uncle Tony. Oh, and you're right. Did Randy Quaid have the biggest barbecue in Texas at the Astrodome?
Randy Quaid did?
I think he did. It's because Elon Musk said he's going to try to break the record, but I didn't know what the record is. But I'm not surprised. Was this before Randy Quaid and his wife went on the lam? Didn't they go on the lam for a crime? What was their crime? Weren't they just like screwing in a trailer or something?
No, it was like a weird, like a bunch of crimes in a row.
Really?
Like there's
that word. We're using the W word against actors again. Weird. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna have to look that up, see what that. But I would go to a Randy Quaid barbecue too. But oh man, and why didn't Kool-Aid cut a deal with him? Right?
What do you mean?
Well, because you get Kool-Aid, right? Because then you can have, how his daughter on vacation was stirring the Kool-Aid with her hand. And then you're like, can I help you with that, please? Because she was just using her hand to stir the Kool-Aid. And then he just had the smushed up tomatoes. And you're like, real tomato ketchup, Eddie? Like, do you just gimmick that and just have like, here's real tomato ketchup and here's hand-stirred Kool-Aid? And you just go all out for the world's biggest barbecue.
Why didn't they ever make like a shitter? A Randy Quaid shitter, and it'd be like, it's full, shitter's full, right? That's the gimmick, and that's how, like, maybe that's what it does. It's like, it has a Randy Quaid voice. Shitter's full.
And just have that as a line. That might make people more apt to go into these porta potties. If you're like, I don't want to go in there. It smells like diarrhea, but I want to hear Randy Quaid's voice. Are you allowed to say that word on YouTube?
Diarrhea?
Yeah.
I mean, we already said it twice.
Diarrhea queen. Now you're living a poopy dream.
What is this?
That was just a song that I just made.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That was,
I'm a big fan of making up song lyrics on the fly. Like,
yeah,
I do that often.
I don't know. Caribbean Queen. Weird Al, call us. Not Caribbean Queen. Diarrhea Queen. Call us. Did you see him on Hot Ones?
No.
Weird Al on Hot Ones?
Have you seen Harry Potter's playing Weird Al in a movie?
Yes, I did see that. I'm excited for that. I went and saw that film with Sandra Bullock, and Brad Pitt and Channing Tatum called The Lost City.
How was that?
It was good. It was exactly what you would expect a movie from Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. But for a shoot, I support The Rock and I support Channing Tatum. I support the actors that when you meet them in real life, they're genuine, awesome people. And Channing Tatum, I met him with Randy at the 21 Jump Street premiere.
Did you go to that premiere in LA?
No, that was here at South by.
Oh, word.
Yeah. And dude, he was incredible. This guy knew how to work the room and found a way to be nice to everybody. Look in your eye and genuinely ask how you're doing. Like, oh, wait, you're considering me a human being? Like, he was great. And it was just like, and you just saw he was doing that to everybody. He wasn't just being polite.
Excellent media training.
Yeah, that was...
No, I support Channing Tatum as well. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I like most
great.
of his films. And I went and saw... I won't be seeing that Sandra Bullock one, but I saw that one he's got out called Dog.
Oh, you did see Dog.
Have you seen the trailer for that?
Yeah, I seen the trailer for that.
It's good. It's good. Catch it on cable or whenever it comes out on streaming. It's a pretty good movie.
You can wait for Lost City to be on. I'm not saying rush out to the film and see it, but it's a good film. But my point being, before I lose track, they had Daniel Radcliffe playing a heel, and he did a good job as a heel. And then you realize he's breaking out of I'm not just Harry Potter. And he's just like, I'm going to play this this British archaeologist that wants this. That's why he hired her. He wanted this rare artifact, and he played a great heel. So I think he's going to do a great job as Weird Al. And
Well,
Rupert Grint is great in Servant on Apple TV.
Who's that?
Rupert Grint, Ron in Harry Potter.
Oh, I've never seen any of the Harry Potters.
What? You
Yeah,
didn't see
I've
the
never
Harry
seen-
Potters?
I didn't see the Harry Potters. Yeah.
Really interesting. I actually I've never read any of the books. I've seen all the Harry Potters, and I watched their reunion on HBO Max, and I realized this is a lot of people's generation's Star Wars. They're going to get the same feeling from Harry Potter, and John Williams did create it. Like when you hear that music, it takes you the moment. And I've been to the Universal Studios. I drank the butter beer. It's good, man. It's a solid film series that actually gets better with each film. I don't the jury's still out on these new ones, the Fantastic Beast one, because that was only based on one book, and they're kind of stretching it. Jury's still out, but Harry Potter is solid.
I never saw the Harry Potter. I guess I don't know why. I just didn't. I don't really. I wasn't into it at the time, and then they kind of just grew in popularity. And it's like we were talking about that the other day, when you just don't see stuff and you got to pretend like you do. You did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of got into that. And then I never want to watch them. And then one time I was at work at a really large and well-known tech company, and I was at work, and people started talking about which Harry Potter school are you, and you're from this school, and someone called me a Hufflepuff, and I was like, your mother's a Hufflepuff, and and I got sent home.
Did you put on the Sorting Hat when you did it?
I mean, there was such a thing. I saw it.
You saw the Sorting Hat.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you should watch it. I think you would appreciate it. It's up there with as far as Lord of the Rings, that you do have to appreciate that fandom. And that was a fandom that was built like Lord of the Rings based on the books. Renato said, honestly, Magic Mike 1 and 2 is great, mostly thanks to Channing Tatum and also the Hot Boys.
Magic Mike is good.
Dude, I mean, all it took was Matthew McConaughey in that trailer. Just say something really cool. It's I see a lot of lawbreakers out there. And that was it. And then they basically, that was event viewing for any pack of female film goers. They were traveling. That sounds strange. They were traveling in packs, but it was just they were going in loud groups, and there was a lot of hooting and a lot of hollering.
Also, indie film nerds, because it's Steven Soderbergh making the male stripper movie, and he's a very
that's right.
interesting
Soderbergh made
director.
that. Did he do both of them?
I don't know if he directed both. I don't know if he directed both, but he makes interesting stuff, and so film nerds were into it. They wanted to go see what it was all about.
Well, again, you got to appreciate the fact of it that it was kind of loosely based on his life story, right? Not his life story, but loosely based on some of the events he went through as a dancer.
You know what I really like?
Was that
a movie that I enjoy quite a bit, and I own a physical copy, White House Down.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, he was in that one. Right?
I dig White House Down. See, it's for me, things like that are always awesome because it's rare to see just an original, big budget sort of action movie like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everything is it has to be a board game or a book first.
An IP, yeah.
And that's just an original concept. Pretty straightforward. You got Jamie Foxx as, the president. Channing Tatum's saving him. Also, he's got to save his daughter at the same time. Cool. That's great.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen it. And they had a couple of them, right?
No, there's only one.
There's only one?
You got a Blu-ray player? No, you don't.
I
have
do.
one.
No, I still have my Blu-ray.
I'll loan you the disc before you go.
I refuse to unplug it because I ran a cable through the wall against code. Don't tell anybody. And it's a 50-foot HDMI cable. I was I'm never unplugging this thing.
Lucky Logan. I did see Lucky Logan. I liked it a lot.
Oh yeah, Logan Lucky was really good too. I do remember that. I don't know why those titles, that title gets mixed in my brain with Lucky Number 11. But Logan Lucky, and then I know they're completely different films.
I bet it's the L's.
Yeah, something sticks in my brain.
Hey, is it me or is this beer really strong?
It's really, I started drinking it really slow because I was just wow.
And you haven't eaten, you said, right?
No, I've been carb cutting for the past 2 weeks, and I stayed my carbs. Today is actually a carb load day So I was like, oh, perfect. I'll just save it for the beer. But then I realized it also going to feel like it took a mallet to the skull. So cheers.
Definitely. Yeah, I was doing so good with the keto guidoing and the new gig is gonna mess that up.
I love the deep cut for Jersey Shore, the keto Guido. Like you're gonna be drunk Mario like at 2 a.m. We're gonna order a pizza, but you're just gonna eat the pepperoni off of it. Just the keto Guido only eats the pepperonis. We should talk a little bit about a couple of the films coming out because I feel like April, before we get into the madness that is the multiverse, there's 2 whopper films that are really coming out that I'm really looking forward to. And we already started talking about one. I'm still waiting for Mike. I don't know if he's going to jump on there. The Nicolas Cage film, you're going to say the title because I always transverse the words of
The Unbearable Weight of
Massive Talent. I mean, you being a huge fan of Nicolas Cage, are you excited about this?
Yeah, it looks awesome. And we talked about this the other week, but like I think right now Nick Cage is about to have his Nick Cage-assance.
Yeah.
He's getting his Keanu moment because I think that movie, the latest trailer just makes it look like a huge high concept studio comedy. And I think it's more like an indie movie.
Yeah.
It's a small movie, but I think it's going to get over. Now he's doing Dracula. That's going to get over.
Oh,
and before you know it, like Nick Cage is going to be back in, the big stuff. Maybe they'll do The Rock too.
Yeah, man, I think it's going to be really good too because I think the booking of Pedro Pascal, the whole thing of just like, remember there was the whole rumor that Pedro Pascal was concerned about the Mandalorian because they wouldn't let him take his helmet off and people were going to not recognize it's him.
We don't know whether or not that was a rumor yet. I don't think they've confirmed it.
It was confirmed?
No, I don't think. I mean, it's definitely a rumor, but it has not been proven untrue. And if you look at this past season of what was it, the Boba Fett show?
Oh, Boba Fett, yeah.
It only enhances that rumor, right?
Yeah, it is possible. But the guy is like, this casting is great. I love the casting. Just to me worked out between him, Cage, and Tiffany Haddish, and Tiffany Haddish's partner. I don't know. He's at that stage where Randy calls is just like you get a stage where people recognize your face, but you don't know their name yet. Like you don't, and it's her. I think this casting is. I think this, like you said, this is going to be a massive hit. I think it's going to be a massive hit.
Tiffany Haddish is great. I just saw. Do you have Apple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apple TV.
Yep.
They have the best stuff on Apple. I think Apple right now is you've got HBO top quality, and second is Apple. I watched.
I agree.
What was it? It's called The After Party.
Oh yes.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it yet, but that is what
it's an easy binge. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be one season. It's good. It's really good. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's good 6-hour binge and you're done.
And that's Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, she plays the detective in that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's like the premise is. I'll tell you the premise so you can decide whether you want to explore it. Basically, it's like it's an after party of a high school reunion, and one of the kids from high school grew up to be like super famous, like he's like Justin Bieber, and he gets killed at the after party.
Oh shit!
So each episode is an episode from the perspective of one of the people that was there. That's a suspect, and you see everything play out the way they saw it.
Oh, so you keep revisiting a lot of the old scenes from a different perspective?
Yeah, but everybody's perspective is stylistically different. Like one guy, he remembers everything, and there's songs for everything. Another one, it's all a cartoon,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
All right, I'm in.
Yeah, I think you would like it.
I think we're hitting a period of time where there's a lot of good shows because I fell into this period where I was really only getting pulled into these shows that had like supernatural or some kind of like mystical element. And I feel like I needed some more ground level stuff. And I think like that's right up my alley. Another one that's really dinging my bell, man, is Winning Time, the story of the lake building.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Holy crap.
I only saw the first 2 so far, but I'm into it.
It's great. And like, what are your thoughts as a director? Like, what are your thoughts of the use of those different lenses?
Yeah, I mean, they're making it look like
that's a bold
1970s TV. I think that's I don't know. I'd like to see some of the behind the scenes. That I imagine that's all just color correction that they're doing in post, but they're making it look like 1970s video.
And I feel like that is adding to it, like the way it's cut.
Oh yeah, it totally works.
And it's just like everything about that, and yeah, it was real. I think you need a. So you said you watched the first two? Yeah, it just gets better.
Did you know this was the movie that like split up Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly?
No, I didn't know they split up.
Yeah, I think it was
heat?
also they got heat now, and also the director. You know the director Adam McKay.
Yeah,
he did all the. So Will Ferrell wanted that part that they gave to John C. Reilly, and he's got heat with John C. Reilly and the director now because.
Because they started Funny or Die together. Those two, right?
Yeah, and they've done lots of movies, and now they're done.
His daughter was the landlord. That was Pearl the landlord.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know there was heat over that. Oh, interesting, because John C. Reilly in that is freaking good. But I can see the struggle, and we were talking about this earlier, like is Will Ferrell going to hit that stage that we were talking about where Will Smith hit and The Rock will eventually hit, that they want to win that cred, because it's not really a comedy role, but he has to be somewhat of a comedy. It's a comedy approach, but it's a little bit more serious.
Will Ferrell, I've thought about this too since I heard about it. I think he cannot not be Will Ferrell in a movie.
It's hard.
And if you watch even his more serious roles, he's still being Will Ferrell. So it's just, he can't really shake that. I don't think he would have been a good fit for that part. John C. Reilly's perfect.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely. He's doing a great job. So, I mean, I hate that it's come to that. But, man, just think about when Will Ferrell played the car dealership guy. It originated in Bat Fight on Funny or Die, when he was basically dressed as Ric Flair, but he was the car dealer. And then they turned it into a character on Eastbound and Down on HBO. Even that guy, you started to just see Will Ferrell through that, where you're not seeing John C. Reilly is becoming Dr. Buss in this.
Yeah, Renato says, I don't think JCR and Will Ferrell have beef, but definitely Adam McKay and Will Ferrell have beef.
Wow,
yeah, that might be the thing. But there's definitely beef. There's heat there.
There's heat from that.
Yeah.
And now I can see rightfully so, because I mean, I feel like this HBO, has always been like a guarantee. If they made a show, it was guaranteed to be buzzworthy, and it was going to guarantee to be a fan favorite, and it was guaranteed to be award bait. But that doesn't happen all the time now. It doesn't. There's no guarantee. I feel like this one can do it. Maybe I'm wrong.
What do you mean?
I feel like this one has that fan appeal, critic appeal, and award appeal.
Here's the problem with that show. It has the most ridiculous title I've ever heard of.
Yeah, and it was not even based on the title. The article was called like Showtime, right?
It's called like Showtime. Let me look up the title.
Yeah, but now the title is called The Winning Time: The Rise of the Los Angeles Lakers Dynasty, right?
Let me see. Let me confirm that. I think so. Winning Time, yeah, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. That's a ridiculous title for a show.
That's a lot.
That sounds like an ESPN documentary.
But it kind of feels like, does it feel like a documentary? Because they break the fourth wall. They're breaking the fourth wall a little bit less than they did in the earlier episodes. They broke the fourth wall a lot in episode 1 and 2, and it's getting less and less. So you're getting a little bit more like this past episode. Minor. I'm not going to give you any no spoilers. You don't even need the spoiler warning.
How many is there now?
I think 5.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm behind. I only saw the first.
This whole episode is how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. If you're a fan of 80s basketball, and it shows how he took his name, his original name. And
I liked when they showed him doing the airplane scene.
Yeah, exactly.
And those were the real directors. That was the Zucker brothers.
That was the Zucker brothers
Yeah.
in there? Yeah, I just love everything about this show. And it's fine. Like, again, I always get pulled into the shows like Lost and Twilight Zone, and like that's layups for me. But like to have something that's just kind of like light but also serious, and it's got some girth, and it gives me a good healthy serving of my remember berries, because I remember the Bird versus Magic rivalry in the 80s. So I can't recommend. I recommend that show. That's one of my. I've been recommending 2 shows to everybody right now. You always have those shows, Winning Time is one of them, and the other one is still Severance, and that's when that's giving me my Lost feel, which that show picked up too. With another one, here we go. We're back to the Jordan Peele effect. Ben Stiller is directing all of these episodes.
Well, I mean,
Of
he's
Severance.
been trying to be a director here for a little bit.
Man, but it's just like there's zero comedy in there. Adam Scott's in there, but there's no comedy element to this. Like there's no ha that's happening. But the show is like really pulling me in. So those are your two shows. You haven't seen Severance yet either, have you?
I haven't watched.
Well, you
it.
might as well wait because I can tell you there's 2 episodes. I think there's 2 episodes left.
I'll probably just wait.
You might as well wait
I'll
to
like
get
a
the full
week, and then
binge.
I'll watch them all before the finale.
To get the full binge because you are right though. Apple TV is killing it, man.
Lucilati would not watch that. We gotta wait. You gotta wait.
She won't watch Severance?
No, just like she won't watch them until they're all out.
Oh, I got it. Oh wow, so she's all in on the binge.
Yeah.
I've done it. This is one I can't do it on though. I'm getting pulled in. I don't know. Maybe my brain has too many I remember the days of the cliffhangers. Maybe I got too much Who Shot JR in me that I'm like, that's cool. I'll wait it out and I'll be excited about it because I have a feeling this is going to end on a cliffhanger. I could be completely wrong. But remember the cliffhanger that happened on Walking Dead? And that pretty much killed that show almost.
Which one?
The cliffhanger of just like, who did Negan hit in the head with the bat with Lucille?
Oh, yeah, that's when it jumped the shark, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, hard. I mean, that's just like, they were getting like 90s Monday Night Raw ratings there for a while. And then after that, people were just like, I remember just like the angry articles of like enough. And I couldn't tell if they were angry that they couldn't binge it or if they actually had to wait to see what happens. And then when it did happen, they weren't happy of how it happened. And I'm still watching it, but it's getting hard to watch. And now they're going to have 3 spinoffs.
Zombie universe, cool. I mean, why not?
It is the Walking Dead universe, so they're.
I mean, I think that Walking Dead, I compare it to like Star Trek. I think it's gonna have Star Trek appeal forever, because it's like it's a sci-fi show. They label it a horror show, but it's like a sci-fi show.
Yeah.
It's all about surviving in this post. But I think it's gonna have a lot of legs. They'll rerun it forever. You know.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine how. And I'd like to go watch because man, it just like, do you remember that feeling? Like, wow, they're actually going to make a show about zombies. That was so unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, and I remember the comic when it came out. I was into it. I liked it.
Oh yeah, it's good. I mean, Kirkman does good stuff because he's invincible too.
And
right?
I'm not a huge comic book reader, but that one got my attention for sure.
Yeah, and he's invincible as well, right? Kirkman, I believe he is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he's good. What's
I hit the mute. Oh, sorry, it's back.
Oh, okay. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know.
I was like, wrap it up.
I thought you were playing me off.
We are at an hour 45, and we have not talked about WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about WrestleMania yet. Well, we're gonna do more of like a top 5. But I gotta wait. Let's see what Ronaldo said. I think after Negan, they didn't have much else to talk about. What do you do when you defeat the ultimate fastest? The ultimate fastest. Yeah, they did have.
Isn't Negan a babyface now?
Yeah. Do you want to have the spoiler alert for
Yeah,
that one?
I'm not going to sit
Okay.
through all the seasons.
Here's a fake spoiler. So there it is. Yeah, he's a complete baby face, and they're almost making Maggie, whose husband was bashed in the brain, which caused the shark jumping. They're almost making it seem like she might be kind of like heelish. But yeah, he's a baby, but I don't know if I'm going to ruin it for anybody, but like. You put 2 and 2 together, they're having 3 and I'm not talking about Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead at World's End or whatever the other one's called. The other 3 spinoffs, besides the Rick movie, is they're doing a Daryl and Carol show. And then they're going to do Negan and Maggie on an island, and they're going to call it like Island of the Dead. Which...
Okay, sure.
So I don't think the comeuppance are going to get. But at this point, like people, have they already forgiven him for Glenn? And now it's to the point where like you come into a new company, it's just like people are like, "Who's Glenn?" People might not even know who Glenn is.
And I don't know.
Did I tell you the story that I was upset because I tried to get a role on Fear the Walking Dead, and I might be too big for a zombie, and I might look a little too well fed.
I understand what the director why they did that. I get it. Yeah, you're just not a zombie, bro. It's all right.
Yeah, sorry.
There's other roles.
But I was upset because it was right there at Dell Diamond, and I wanted to do it. And then after that, I just thought like, wow, these characters are all so likable. I started rooting for the zombies, and then I went to a roller derby here at the Austin Expo Center, and the whole cast was there, and I was just like,
oh, really?
The whole cast was there, and I was like, damn, I hope those zombies kill you. I was there for our friend Chuckles. His girl was actually on one of the teams, one of the Roller Girls. Remember that show on A&E, Roller Girls? That was before I moved to Austin. And I'm like, man, Austin looks magical.
Sidebar: get Chuckles on the show. Be good to have a guy who does voices.
Yeah. Oh, he does. Yeah, he does. He does voices.
That's what shows usually have, a guy that does voices.
He is.
That's better than a.
He's a voice guy. He's like, you got a voice guy? He's like, yeah, we got a voice guy.
What was that guy on Stern that would always do voices? You know.
Oh yeah, they always have a
Jackie Joke Man.
Oh, Jackie the Joke Man. Jackie the Joke Man. Oh my gosh. All right, yeah, we are getting close to our quorum, but yeah, we still want to cover some of the Mania. There's a lot of stuff to cover in Mania. If you're not a wrestling fan, I got to warn you, you may want to stick around for this because we're going to be talking about Logan Paul, the cast of Jackass, Pat McAfee, the punter. That's crazy.
I forgot. There's so much
I could
to
have been
talk
King
about
Zombie.
for WrestleMania.
I could have been King Zombie. JJ called it. Could have been the King.
You could have been. Yeah.
I could have been the zombie that they come and feed me other humans, and then it's just like, man, that zombie eats a lot.
You could have been like the vaguely ethnic big guy who wears armor. Why weren't they casting for that? Why didn't you apply for that
I would.
one?
Yeah, I totally could have booked that role. I could have definitely. Actors act and bookers book. I could have booked that role. But yeah, no, I was not.
You got to see, because that's like a trope. The vaguely ethnic big guy. You got to see. You said you never saw Land of the Dead, right?
No.
You got to see Land of the Dead just for their vaguely ethnic big guy wearing armor.
They got it.
They got one. It's the best one.
Oh, wait, they got the best. That had to be the OG one, right? Because that was before.
I think it is the OG one.
Because that was before. What's his name? That was protecting King Ezekiel. He's still on the show too. But yeah, the vaguely ethnic are like, oh, I think he's Polynesian. We don't even know.
I don't know. I'll try and pull it up before the show's over, just so you can get a sense of it. But you want to do a quick be right back, and then we'll queue up WrestleMania.
Yeah,
because
let's go up with wrestling. Let's do it. All right, BRB.
Where are you going?
To get a Stroh's.
That's about a 200-mile hike through heavy snow.
I know.
If you think of it, get two.
From one beer lover to another's Stroh's.
Okay, so you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
So in closing, this honey vanilla blonde, feisty blonde beer was delicious.
I liked it.
Yeah, we still haven't decided on a rating system. Like glasses up or pints
The
down.
rating system is going to be based on the folks who actually watched that and tell us what they thought about it with. Anyway,
Yes.
it was good. I like it.
That was good.
Look, I'm doing something kind of crazy here. I don't know if you're noticing. I'm sick of my headphones. I'm not going to do the headphones.
Oh, you're
for a
going
while.
headphone free?
Headphone free. Can you hear me fine? Do
Yeah,
I, sound,
I hear you.
I sound the same?
Yeah, I hear you. No issues hearing you. So I don't know. I just feel I've lived in a world now where I always have headphones on. I sometimes have two headphones on, some around my neck and then some on my skull.
Yeah. I mean, headphones are. I wear them for work and stuff, and it's like now we're doing this.
Yeah, now
I
we're
just haven't
selling.
know. I kind of think I'm gonna go without them.
Yeah, I would love to see Hop Fusion. We started off with that beer, and then we went down a rabbit hole, but it was a good rabbit hole. It was a fun one.
Yeah, I like it. I'll
Called
give them a
White
thumbs
Rabbit.
up. Okay,
All
so
right.
it's we people tuned in to talk about WrestleMania.
Yes,
and they've been waiting for
WrestleMania
2
is
hours.
time.
Okay, let's
It
hyperspace
is
to
time.
WrestleMania.
Hyperspace. All right. Here's the spoiler about WrestleMania. Before we even start getting into it, it was a good show. A lot of times
Totally.
we don't have that. We don't have the problem of complimenting WWE on their events. But this was a good show, and we're gonna go over it. So, in case you're
100% it was a good show,
and just in case you're gonna anyone that thinks that you're just like it's all about AEW, and obviously we're not. We've talked about this, especially with my history. I'm a fan of the art. Whether you call it sports, entertainment, or pro wrestling, I'm a fan of the art. I will call stuff out when it doesn't work, and I will call out stuff when it does work. And this one worked really well.
Look, I'll say I am way more into AEW right now than I am to WWE, and this grabbed me. You know what I mean? This got me.
Yeah, it was, and it started off shaky. Like I was not sure what was going to happen because I had a bone to pick that like I think the Andre the Giant Battle Royal is too important to not have on the main show. And now you have 2 days and you can't fit it on the main show. And they put it on SmackDown. And then you have the U.S. title just on Finn Balor in the Battle Royal and he's not defending it. And then Ricochet has the IC belt and that didn't even make it on the main WrestleMania card. But be that as it may, I'm going to focus on the positives. That didn't even happen on the main card. That was a lot of wrestling, dude. So you got 2 hours of SmackDown. You got about 3 hours of NXT. Then you had 3 to 4 hours of WrestleMania Night 1, and then another 3. That's a lot of wrestling over the weekend. And then you go right into the Raw after Mania. It's just like around the clock.
I didn't see SmackDown. Was the go home SmackDown pretty good?
It was part of WrestleMania. It was like the WrestleMania SmackDown, and they put the Andre Battle Royal, which was not good.
Oh, I see. I got you.
And then I don't even remember who Ricochet defended the belts against, but he kept it. So it was that uneventful. The only thing that you remember about the Battle Royals, they kind of teased like Finn Balor was going to win, and it got people who love Finn Balor excited, and then they gave it to Madcap Moss, got the win. You know, that guy that's with Happy Corbin that you're like, people were shitting on AEW for having all these comedy gimmicks, and then you got Madcap Moss.
Oh, right.
Yeah. He won the Battle Royal. So, but we're not going to count that. We're not going to count it. We're going to just talk about the 2-night events that was in Dallas. You and I were both scarred from the last time we went, so we didn't even go see it in person. And ironically, this one would have been enjoyable to see in person.
Yeah, they go and have a good WrestleMania, the best WrestleMania in a while.
In
I
a
think.
long time, yeah.
In a long time.
And they went and did it right here in Dallas, and we didn't even go because we were scarred from last time. We thought we were going to get screwed. So it started off with the Usos defeated Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. We had a shoot injury in that match. Boogs is like a super strong dude. Like I think he's like an Old Spice spokesman. Anyway, he was going to do like a double press, and he was going to have both Usos on his shoulders, and his knee buckled in a weird way. You're like, oh, that didn't look good. And he started screaming, rolled out of the ring, and that was pretty much the end for him. And they literally carried him out. So that was the only thing that was really memorable about that match. Other than Shinsuke is still over, and having this guy Boogs with him playing the guitar, the crowd was singing along. So that helped. That being an opening match helped because the crowd was hyped that they just started basically, they love to sing Shinsuke's song. And Vince tried to stop them from singing it for the longest time. He's allowing them to sing it again, and it got the crowd in the right state of mind and got it started on the right foot to have that match first. So thumbs up for booking that match first. Because you had a very troublesome second match that people were not excited about. What
was the second match?
Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre.
Oh, yeah. I completely tuned out when that was on.
Yeah, and the only thing that really memorable that happened with there was Drew McIntyre took Jim Cornette's advice and probably finally swung that sword and cut through two of the ropes. But it was totally...
Okay.
They made the mistake of showing it in slow motion, so when he hit the sword on the ropes, you saw the sword bend. So shame on you, production, for doing that, because it looked cool because he cut it and the ropes just went pop. And don't show it in slow motion because it got its effect. You slow motioned it and then you saw the sword bend. So that was the only thing that was kind of... But Drew McIntyre needs something different. Happy Corbin is actually doing some of the best work he's ever done with this new gimmick. Although I liked Down on His Luck Corbin a little better, but this is working
way better.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre is just he's kind of an old school gimmick. He like belongs in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they can do with him, but yeah, he should join Sheamus, and they could be like Lords of Brooklyn because they're doing.
Oh man,
Sheamus is doing that.
That's
Lords
right.
Of Brooklyn
Because he's got the Butch and he's got Ridge. Although we'll get into the Ridge thing here in a minute because I got my picks on this. And then we started with the first what you would consider big match was Miz and Logan Paul defeated the Mysterios. And I got to tell you, man, Logan Paul has the cheat codes to this Matrix.
Yeah, probably so.
Because this guy fought Mayweather. Now he's going to fight Tyson. And now he got to be a part of WrestleMania. And he was entertaining. He was great. As a heel, he gets nuclear heat. He came out wearing like a Pokemon card that he just broke the Guinness Book of World Records for purchasing the most expensive Pokemon card. It was like $6 million or something, and he wore it to the ring in like a diamond encrusted thing. But he, obviously, the history between Ray and Eddie Guerrero, so they were doing the tribute. But when Logan Paul tried to do the tribute and do the Three Amigos suplexes at Eddie Guerrero, and then he got on the top and he did the Eddie dance and the frog splash, he got so much heat. That was great. People would pay big money to watch Logan Paul in a fight. I think if he was on top of a card. Well, we did because he's done it with boxing.
100%. And it's crazy. This is a guy who got famous like pranking people, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that his thing? But yeah, so this is part of I think a bigger narrative of the night that I saw. WWE is figuring some stuff out, but I'll double back on that. But yes, highly entertaining. People want to see him get hit. Worked perfectly. And he's good. He's a good wrestler, too.
He's athletic. Dude, he was super... I mean, you knew he was an athlete. Like, he was a shooter.
He's going to fight Mike Tyson later, so This is just a warm-up.
No, this is great. Like, he's checking off things on his bucket list. Like, wow, this dude, like, if you were playing, Fortnite and you saw someone like him running around, you're like, oh, this guy's got cheat codes. Like, how is he doing? This is his life. This is his life that he's doing this. But hats off. I'd pay money. I did. Well, I paid for the money... Mayweather pay-per-view, and I'm going to pay to see him fight Tyson. And he's got so much heat that when Miz turned on him, they started cheering for Miz. No one cheers for Miz.
No one
ever.
cheers for Miz.
Yes, that's exactly it. Tyson respects Logan Paul too, so he won't hurt him. He's exactly right. Because I mean, look, it goes. Speaking of the, we were talking about the Will Smith slap earlier being a work. Obviously, there's a part of that Mayweather stuff that could have been a work too, because they showed him picking him up. Obviously, Tyson probably could decimate him, but he's not going to do it because that's not really going to put on a show. But Logan Paul is basically he did an interview with WWE. He's like, for the longest time I've been the world's richest loser. I kept losing, but I'm rich. And that's like, man, that's such a heel thing to say. Like, no matter what you can do, you're still rich. So I agree. I think Tyson probably will protect him and put on a show. But I think he has a future with WWE if he ever wants it. Because Jake Paul was on the pre-show, and the people were booing him because that's what wrestling fans do. When you're a celebrity, and we're going to get into this later, it's very hard to win wrestling fans over. And Jake Paul and Logan Paul have that celebrity that they're not going to get over. So they were booing them, and Jake Paul was like turning around. He's like, I knock people like you out. I knock people. Like he was egging the crowd on. It's like, oh man, I'd pay to see the Logan brothers against a team that, and they treated it like a shoot. Like, no, you're not going to disrespect the wrestlers. There's a TikTok guy. He was getting booed, and he didn't know what to do. The Paul brothers knew what to do. They kept egging it on.
Yeah.
So props to that.
Really good. Really good.
That was awesome stuff. Then we had the redemption match. What I call redemption match. Bianca Belair won the title for Becky Lynch. And
the payoff to the story that started at SummerSlam that nobody liked.
Right. That we still suspect could have been a botch. And a botch in a sense that, everybody loves Becky, so let's just give her the belt in 20 seconds, and it backfired. And it worked here. This was on night one. This was match of the night. Bianca got her hand raised. It was a great match.
Yeah, I like that look Becky Lynch was doing. I'm not sure what that was, but with a new haircut.
Yeah, they kind of gimmicked it, right? Because Bianca cut her hair the week before on Raw to set up, you're trying to cut my ponytail.
Oh, Bianca cut her hair on Raw. Okay, yeah, that's right.
So then maybe she's like, maybe they did the whole, if you're getting a haircut, let's turn it into an angle. But there's really not much to say other than Bianca got her redemption, and it was cool to see because they had Sasha and Bianca had the match on night one, and it was the match of the night last year as well. So props to Bianca, man. She did it 2 years in a row. Next up, here is the other match of the night. Can we have two matches of the night?
I think you can do that.
I think that's fair to do it because, as everyone suspected, it was Cody Rhodes as the mystery opponent against Seth freaking Rollins. And this was not as, I don't want to discount this at all. I'm just trying to preface it. It wasn't as big of a pop as the Hardys got, but it was still a massive pop. And Cody killed it in that match. He killed it in that entry. And he's been killing it ever since. He has what CM Punk was doing, where he feels like a legitimate athlete that's talking about his trade, not somebody reading scripted lines. But this match was great, and they went all out. Like when he gave that reverse suplex off the top, like he usually does it, the superplex into the Falcon Arrow, but he rolled, and then it looked like he was going to give him like a dragon sleeper, and this match was great. To have these two matches in a row like that was phenomenal. And Cody had his AEW entrance. He had everything.
Super interesting he did his AEW entrance.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like the stuff he's been doing after, cutting the promos, he's just doing his AEW gimmick. Mm-hmm. That's never happened. Like I can't recall WWE doing something like that.
Oh, no.
Not repacked. And you're right. He's cutting a promo on the Raw after, but that's part of it.
No, yeah, it's happening.
That no one else in WWE gets to cut.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, I feel like, and he even said it on one of his post-match interviews. He's like, I'm really looking forward to telling the writers no. And he meant it in a very respectful way because this man clearly doesn't need a writer. You can collaborate with him. Don't give him any lines he needs to see because, like JJ said, adrenaline in my soul. Like when you heard that music, you had a pop because then it's only been NWO, Goldberg, and that was for WCW. Like They didn't even bring DDP over as DDP, right? Think of that. I mean, I guess Big Papa Pump, they kind of let him keep the Big Papa Pump thing. It's very rare for Vince to let you keep your stuff. But for somebody like AEW, who he doesn't even acknowledge, and he let him come in as Cody like that?
That's what I'm saying. Something changed over at whatever at the WWE building. Something's different. To me, the way the two nights were booked felt very different than what we've been seeing for a long time now.
And I know one of their producers resigned, and they didn't announce until after Mania, so it could have had something to do with that. But to let him come in there and just be Cody and just go out there and then cut that promo the night before that basically created that hashtag Dude for the Dream and telling that story of Dusty fighting Superstar in the Garden and bringing up the history and letting him talk about pro wrestling. And he's like, my goal was... He's like, oh, Dad, I didn't know you won the title like Hulk Hogan. And then he had explained that he won it on a count out and he didn't get to keep the title. And then, funny enough, you heard the story that Dan Lambert, who you did not know, he's a wrestling historian too. He had the original belt, that WWF belt, and he gave it to Cody.
Really?
Yeah, he gave it to him. And he's like, and apparently Dan Lambert, how you see him on TV is kind of how he is like for a shoot. But I guess he's a collector too, and he gave Cody that belt, and he's like, you should have this. I was just like, wow. And he's like, now I have this belt. And now he's out there telling that story. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And they're just basically letting Cody be Cody, and it's working so well. And he's not going to get right into the title picture. He's not done with Seth Rollins, but just having him come out with Seth and shake his hand, that was cool. But now that there's only one belt, but would you pay to see Cody versus Roman Reigns?
Yes.
I would.
Yeah, I would.
Absolutely would.
I would borrow your Peacock password.
Because think of this. It's just like now you're going to have the tribal chief, the bloodline, basically the Samoan mafia, as we used to call it here, running the whole show against the common man, doing it for the dream. You're going to be rooting for him. And Roman's had that belt for so long. They're comparing it to Pedro Morales, Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan, Bruno Sammartino, and Roman Reigns for the longest title reign. I mean, they're actually acknowledging wrestling history, which is cool.
So, I mean, like I said, I feel like something has changed at WWE in the writers' room, in the production meetings. Something's changed. And I would, if the folks back there are paying attention now, I would be saying they should be saying to themselves, well, this is the most interesting thing that's happened here in a while.
Yeah.
This is going to get us more press than anything we could possibly do right now.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns could shit himself in the middle of the ring or something, and this, nothing. This is everybody wants to know about this.
Yeah.
So why not push him right into the title picture, right?
I think you could. I don't think they're gonna, but I think you could. I think you absolutely could.
They've got to give him an interesting angle, and it's got to be top of the card.
Yeah.
Up the top of the card.
Well, and the funny thing about Cody's, he's already setting up angles. Like he was on the bump this morning, and he was talking about, the Seth Rollins stuff, and he talked about how jealous he was when Seth Rollins won the FCW title before it was NXT, because they were calling those guys Dusty's kids, and he was on the road kind of like stuck in a rut, and he was jealous. He's like, Dusty's kids. Dusty has kids. I'm Dusty's kids. And he said he was feeling like professional jealousy. I was like, this guy's already setting up another angle with Rollins that you're intrigued. And they actually went and showed the flashback of Seth Rollins winning that title and Dusty Rhodes hugging Seth Rollins in the ring. And then Cody's like, yeah, I mean, Dad, he was just like that because he just would do this weird thing. And I don't know if he did it just to get me fired up, but he would befriend my opponents when I would wrestle in high school. And I was just like, man, this guy is so good. He's already setting up angles, because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's going to be something there with already Seth, because he's talking about legitimate, real, right? Personal issues, pal. Real stuff. And they're like, he's setting it up, and it was great.
I mean, I think WWE, they've lucked into something really good. Not lucked, they bought it. They paid for it.
Yeah,
but it's like, here it is. It's now we're going on 3 years of AEW. They've been building nothing but upward momentum. They're doing great. They're the coolest, hippest, probably, wrestling organization out there right now, most widely known. And then one of their top guys bounces, and WWE scoops him up, I mean, you're going to listen to what he has to say.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
You're going to find out, well, how did you do this? Or actually, what do you think of this script? You know what I mean? Why
Right.
not? Why wouldn't you utilize that?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Cody would be like, he would like to do that.
Oh, he'd absolutely like
And
to
I'm
do
sure
it.
maybe part of his pitch is like, I can help. Can I see your booking? Can I see the booking for the WrestleMania? How about we just talk about it? I'll give you my ideas.
Yeah. He says he doesn't want an EVP, but there's no way.
That's exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah.
That's why he left AEW, because he wasn't EVPing as much
Yeah,
as he wanted to.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, I believe Jim Cornette put it best. He's like, now you're talking about one of the founders that left this company to join your company. He basically knows what makes all of that talent there tick. He knows when contracts are up. He knows what people want, knows what people are getting.
100%.
That's like now he's legitimately like he's a tool.
He knows who's not happy there.
Yeah.
He knows what they're thinking, what they like, what they don't like.
Yeah. Man, so MJF, they were grading him on, Paul Heyman was grading him on him talking about, hey, FYI, my contract's up January 2024. It's going to be the biggest negotiations in pro wrestling. Like, he's already using WWE as a tool, and he's calling it out on AEW. I think it's great. It's great, and it's healthy for the business. It's like watching all fish feed on other fish because it makes a healthy ocean.
It's what it is, man, and competition is good. I just had an image in my mind of like Cody Rhodes and Vince in a room together, and Vince is showing him clips of like Orange Cassidy and asking how come this is popular.
How come this works?
How come this works? Can you explain it to me, Swan?
Yeah, I don't think it's kind of like explaining to your old drunk uncle, the TikTok dance. It's probably not going to work. But we'll get into Uncle Vince here in a minute. But hats off to Cody, and I'm excited I want to see him take on the Tribal Chief. I've already purchased it. I'm ready. Next up, we had Charlotte Flair defeating Ronda Rousey with a run-in from Charlotte's boob, which was trending on Twitter.
What happened?
Yeah, her
She had a wardrobe malfunction?
She had a wardrobe malfunction on the side. Then that was like, I was really looking forward to this match, not because I was hoping for a wardrobe. I'll take it. But they are this one also felt like a shoot. Because you remember the match that Charlotte had with Ronda a couple Survivor Series ago? And they was just like, it was turned in like Charlotte like went crazy and was like beating her with a kendo stick. Like it felt like a shoot. So I was excited about this. I know both of these two can go, and it was a good match. I had no heat with it. I was actually surprised that Charlotte beat her clean. Like, she beat her clean 1, 2, 3. So I don't know if this means Ronda, because remember when Ronda lost the last time we saw her at WrestleMania, when she lost, it was kind of like it looked like a botch. Like her shoulder was supposed to get up and the ref counted her down anyway. This one was a clean 1, 2, 3, which is very what you wouldn't expect to see from Ric Flair. Like, if this was Ric Flair, they would have faked, and I guess they kind of did that. They would have worked that Charlotte lost and then found a way to give the title back to Flair. And they kind of did that because the referee did actually count 1, 2, 3 on Charlotte, but then her foot was on the rope, so he instantly turned that around, and then they did a ref distraction gimmick, and then Charlotte was tapping, and then they gave Charlotte the win. So it wasn't as dirty as the dirtiest player of the game, but she did go over clean. And I got no complaints with the match. I like Ronda. I'm one of the few that actually likes Charlotte, so I was okay with it.
No complaints. It was fine, fit well in the program, and it was fine.
Yeah, it did really well. And it was tough because it really kind of should have been the main event, but for reasons we're about to explain, it couldn't be the main
They did
event.
it right. They did it right.
Because this technically wasn't a match that came up next. This was supposed to be the main event version of the KO show, having Stone Cold Steve Austin after Kevin Owens has been making fun of Texas for the past 2 months. You're going to have the Rattlesnake come and face him. And then they got into it pretty quick. The glass broke, and then he's like, I didn't call you here to talk. I called you here to fight. And I told you this, and this was fine. This accomplished exactly what it needed to accomplish. But I told you back when we used to wrestle, they would make you wrestle the Invisible Man. Some people would actually use a broomstick. But the idea is you should be able to have a match with nobody and you're basically bumping all over the ring. And that's what it reminded me of Kevin Owens, because, you know, even if Steve was just throwing a punch, Kevin Owens was bumping like crazy for him. Like he was flying all over the place. And you knew Stone Cold wasn't going to be the normal Stone Cold. You know, he looked in phenomenal shape, but he never took off his t-shirt. So you kind of figured it wasn't going to be like a Stone Cold match. This was going to be a Stone Cold fight. And the people were eating it up, and they loved it, and they popped. And that's what they want. You needed that Stone Cold pop. And when he put him on his four-wheeler and he drove up the stage, I mean, it was great. It's exactly what you expected.
It completely worked.
Yeah.
They closed the show right, sent everybody home happy. The way they booked it was great. Like, I mean, because they never officially announced a match. Awesome. Add a little bit of speculation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Add some surprise. What a great way to a very simple way to just add some unexpected.
Yeah,
things.
and they're like, what's going to happen? And make you tune in to find out what's going to happen. And
Right.
and it worked really well. Are you okay that Stone Cold took the pin? Like that, basically, that Kevin Owens put him over? Are you okay with that?
That Stone Cold took the pin.
No, I mean that Stone Cold won. He got the win.
Yeah, well, of course. That's fine with me.
Yeah. I mean, I would have no problem. Obviously, you would have no problem giving the job. I just didn't know if there was going to be
No one has a problem doing a job for Stone Cold.
But do you remember back, and I get this was a different time, so I can understand. Do you remember when Rock came back, and Rock was basically setting up for his match with John Cena, but CM Punk had the belt, and that means CM Punk had to put the Rock over for the belt so they can set up for that WrestleMania match. And they had that reaction video of that guy flipping, losing his mind when CM Punk lost to the Rock with the people's elbow. He flipped out. We should probably pull that video up, right?
How would I search it?
Just put guy mad for CM Punk losing to the Rock.
Thank God for Google.
Yeah, yeah, that's not the best Google foo. And that's the end of night one for WrestleMania. So this is going to be our break. We're going to see the reaction because I'm okay with Stone Cold going over, and I didn't see any negativity, but I was just curious if this was going to happen again.
Is this a person in their house?
Yeah, it's a person in their house in
Is
front
it
of
like
their
a-
TV, and he's like wearing a belt. He's like in a T-shirt. Can you just pop it up real quick, and I'll know just by the thumbnail probably. Yep, that's it. That top one.
Top one?
That's it. Yep. Yeah, so watch this. This was Royal Rumble. He already gave him the rock bottom. Watch this kid. I was curious if this was going to happen to Kate. Look at it. Got the Paul Heyman guy's shirt on, right? The voice of the voiceless.
Wrestling is real.
Yeah. I think he does one more angry.
You're laughing at me and I'm getting pissed the fuck off about it.
Those are perfectly good Blu-rays. Why are you kicking them?
Where's the rock at in this fucking thing? That's what I think about you, Rock. That's what I think about you, Rocky. Get out. Seriously, please.
That's the end, I think, pretty much.
100 days. Away for a fucking, so we can promote another fucking movie until
So, yeah, at the time, CM Punk was creeping on the longest reigning champion. So that kid was furious. So I was curious if KO, who has a very similar following to CM Punk, if they were upset that he would come in and put Stone Cold over.
JJ has a good point here. He's like, I was a little surprised that he went over because of that old school mindset that you go out on your back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, especially, and he has
Stone
it,
Cold's
right? You
not
go on
going.
a-
He's going to be around, right? He's just going to not wrestle, maybe. But
Yeah, I was really curious. Like, I figured if they'd find a way, but it would have been really hard the way it was positioned in the card. Being Vince does have that thing, although sometimes this it doesn't look true. He has that thing that you got to send the crowd home happy.
You got to.
Yeah, and you had to finish it on a beer bath. So there's part of me. The only note I would have had was I wish there was a way that they could have used it to introduce a few more Texas legends, and that way he would have went out, and then you could have got like Booker T could have came out and gave him a bookend. JBL could have came out and gave him a clothesline. Shawn Michaels could have gave him the sweet. All these Texans, because the whole heat was that he was making fun of Texas. So now you get all the Texans, but the Ultimate Texan gives him the stunner in there. But maybe they thought that was too much if they would have went to the cheap pop. I thought they would have did like they did with Sting versus Triple H, and then they found a way to turn it into DX versus the NWO. They could have used an excuse to get a lot of Texans in there, and maybe that would have made it feel a little cleaner. But I didn't see a lot of complaints about it, so I was like, okay, I'm fine with it. I mean, if you paid me to take a stunner, I'd take that stunner and go home.
For sure.
So,
yeah, maybe I feel like maybe Stone Cold has transcended that having to go out on your back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's gonna be champion forever.
yeah, he's definitely going to be the rattlesnake champ. So that was night one. Thumbs up for night one. Cody coming back, Bianca's redemption, seeing Stone Cold in the beer bath. Thumbs up. So we start off night two. Start off with RK Bro defeating the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. Solid triple threat match. No complaint. Randy Orton is having the time of his life in this RK Bro gimmick. And he had another WrestleMania worthy RKO where he did the Seth one that was famous, right? Where Seth went to give him the blackout, the curb stomp, and then he launched him in the air in RKO. Where Alpha Academy homeboy Chad Gable, he got caught with a moonsault into an RKO on one of the Raws, and I was like, how is he? This time he did it with like a crossbody, but man, he's so athletic, it looked really good. But for this one, it was the setup, obviously, to have that Gable Stevenson, which they're kind of booking as their next big thing, their next Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. He was the legitimate gold Olympic medal winner. That was a wrestler they signed, and they used that as an excuse. They were going to do the Street Profits. They were going to have the drinking party, and Chad Gable came in and snacked it out of there. They called Gable, and it gave him a sick-looking belly-to-belly. So what do you think of that guy, Gable Stevens?
I like him. Yeah.
He looks. I mean, obviously they got a mix between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, and he clearly is athletic. So if he's got the
belly
right
to belly looks solid. So I was like, yeah, this guy's.
He's got the wrestling skills, but what he's going to have to do is Kurt Angle showed it in this personality and this new version of Brock Lesnar. Cowboy Brock is so over with this awesome side of this personality that no one's ever saw.
I made a brisket with that spice the other day.
Oh yeah,
Good stuff.
it's great. The Brock spice, yeah. Oh yeah, we had the spoonful that sucked all the juices out of my mouth. Thumbs up though. See that. Next up, we had Bobby Lashley beating Omos. So Omos is no longer defeated. That's Vince's pet giant. And they probably wondered why, but it was cool. They kind of had that Davey versus Goliath. David versus Goliath feel. And it made more sense that Bobby Lashley went over the next night when MVP turned on Bobby Lashley and now is the manager to Omos. I thought, okay, that bookends exactly why that happened. So
Someone's helping him out, dude. Someone is feeding him ideas.
it felt like wrestling, right? Like, oh, that's perfect. That's Bobby Heenan and Andre the Giant with Omos and MVP. I was like, that's great. And because now Bobby Lashley, like, why need to beat you? I already beat you once before, but now you got to beat him with MVP in your corner after your manager turned on you. So I was very happy with that. That worked out really well. Next up, to quote JBL, somebody call the sheriff. They're going to steal the show. Sami Zayn put over Johnny Knoxville in a match that I had no idea I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. To the point where you're like, why? I think you said this earlier. Why didn't Johnny Knoxville do this earlier?
Dude, this match worked so good for me.
Yeah, it was perfect.
It was all jackass. It makes perfect sense. It all makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The jackass guys can take big bumps.
Yeah.
Because they're the jackass guys.
Right.
So you can throw them around. Wee Man got kicked square in the nose.
Oh man, that was a hard kick too. Like he,
Of course.
'Cause it's the
That's what they
jackass.
do. It makes perfect sense. And then, Johnny Knoxville had all the gimmicks, the jackass prank stuff.
oh,
I
that
think
was-
he's got a WWE future. He can be the gimmick guy. He can be the
Oh, man.
prop comic, and it'll work.
It worked so well, like the giant hand. I didn't even see it coming. Or when he somehow got the remote control for the pyro, and the pyro went off on Sammy's ass. I mean, that was great. Hats off to Sami Zayn, because he was another one. I mean, for being a comedy match, it was a stiff comedy match. Like usually a comedy match doesn't.
Super stiff.
Yeah.
But these guys can take it. That's what's perfect.
I know. So
It makes perfect sense.
It's very rare to have a comedy match that requires such hard bumps and being so stiff. And I think that's what made this unique. And we talked about this earlier. The celebrities are not always welcome in the pro wrestling ring by the fans. The fans were loving it. Like when Wee Man came in and started throwing blows, and I saw a few memes of like showing Wee Man slamming Sammy next to Hogan slamming Andre. I mean, there was just like, it was great. And then the mousetraps on, like, look, wrestlers do the whole jackass thing. Like, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and I'm about to throw tacks on the ground and roll on them. Wrestlers are already doing that. So it wasn't that unusual to have all these mousetraps glued to a freaking table. The only thing I wasn't too crazy about, and then they had the dancing guy that came. Yeah, everything just worked so well, and Sammy was getting pissed and he was being stiff with him. The only thing that I wish they could have found a way to do a little different was the giant mousetrap. Like, I don't know if they could have made it a little bit more stiff, because it looked like he was holding it down. But I don't know. It just worked, man. It's just the audience grew up with the jackass. It's definitely their genre. I totally agree with that.
I think it
Everybody-
might have helped that I just saw the Jackass movie, the new one.
Oh, okay.
And I loved it.
Yeah, you were
I hadn't
cracking
laughed
up,
so
right?
hard in forever, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what it is about this one. Because I mean, that was whatever. I watched Jackass. I was never like a laugh out loud at pranks kind of, whatever. But like, I could not stop laughing at the new Jackass movie.
Yeah.
So when this match came on, it just worked so perfect for me. And I see it. Like, they should go ahead and put Johnny Knoxville in an angle on SmackDown. Can you imagine? People would tune in for that. Friday night, you have the Johnny Knoxville prank guy. Put him in who's not doing anything. Put him with somebody that people want to see get beat up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, just do it. And people would tune in for that.
Yeah.
That could be the end,
I totally agree. And this worked so well because this had that crossover appeal. They always try to get to Mania, right? Like, they had for a shoot Sami Zayn crash, Jackass red carpet. So I mean, and it had TMZ coverage, so they had that coverage. So this just worked from head to toe. It worked from head to toe, and I was super happy with it.
And then Sami Zayn did the job.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments that it was okay. Right, like maybe would Roddy have Piper put over Johnny Knoxville? No, but he also probably wouldn't have been okay with getting Pyro in the ass either.
But what he did was put over the pranks. That's why I'm saying
He put over the pranks.
That's why
That's a
I'm saying
good
that
point.
can continue to work.
Sorry, still nursing. But yeah, that would continue to work, and I would pay to do it. So again, we're going to talk about the second one, but this was a night where the celebrities stole the show, and that was the first time. Next up, we had Naomi and Sasha Banks. They won the titles against, it was a fatal four-way, so you had Carmella and Queen Zelina were the champs, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. The Queen of Hearts and the Queen of Spades. Sasha got her moment, and Naomi got her. They both won titles at WrestleMania before, so this was just no complaints, but there was nothing that really stuck out other than one of the Mandalorians got the title.
Dude, perfect. Have they been tag team partners before?
Yeah, remember when Sasha first got there, I think it was Naomi and maybe Tamina Snuka.
Well, either way,
They were
they
team
should have the belts
Team
forever
Bad
now.
or something.
They should have the belts forever. That's great. That's an awesome team up.
Yeah. They work really well as a team, because I was to the point where I was like, they got to do something different with Naomi. And, for a shoot, she's married to one of the Usos. I thought maybe she should just turn heel and have her join the bloodline. But before they do that, I'm cool with them if they just want to keep these two going.
She can't do heel. She's like too nice.
Yeah.
She's too nice. She can't do it. I love the glow thing that just it's whatever. I think it's gonna work great. Her and Sasha as the tag team champs. Who else? I mean, that's the best tag team champs they've had in a while.
Yeah.
Since like the Iconics or something.
The
like that.
Iconics, yeah. The Iconics or this
But,
one.
like,
They
totally,
feel like a legit tag team.
And now we got the trio of Sasha and Bianca and Naomi as like the a trio of champs. Put them in a faction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think the females need more factions. I think that would help.
AEW has proved factions helps a lot.
Factions work, even if they don't go to ringside, and like you don't need to have 30 people going in the ring to you, but I mean just having the factions walk into the ring, like to the ramp with you, and then walking away, that's fine. But yeah, hats off. That was a solid match too. Next up, I would have guessed that a match like this would have stole the show if you saw it on paper. But it was very just there. Edge went over on AJ Styles. And I guess because I haven't been keeping up, but Edge has gone full heel, and he's going to more of a methodical brood, right? Like now he's the cult leader. He calls himself the omnipotent one. And the big news that come out of this is they're finally doing something with Damian Priest, who was not getting over as a babyface. So he came out as a heel, and he's joining it. And I was like, I wish they would call it the New Brood, but I don't think they're going to. This match was there was nothing.
I think. I mean, I'm not a fan right now. I mean, Edge is fine. He's great. He's a legend. I would love to see him in AEW. Go to AEW and team up with Christian and take the belts from Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Oh my god!
And have some going that way. I don't know. He's like, it feels like an old gimmick. It just not very original. I'm just not into it. I'm just not into it.
No, if they were going for if they were going for the Remember Berries, just make him New Brood. Because the next night when Damian Priest was explaining why he joined Edge, the crowd was chanting, "We don't care." And and he had Edge out there and it worked. He's like, back then that would have bothered me, but it doesn't bother. I don't know. Nothing really special to talk about, but it was a good match. But you would have thought, wow, these guys are going to steal the show. But
sidebar, like, wasn't Damian Priest's indie name like Punisher Martinez or something?
Yeah.
Man, should have kept that.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, you should have stuck with that.
He'd be at the top of WWE right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Next match is Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch defeated the New Day. This kind of sucked. This would be my thumbs down. For personal reasons, because obviously Ridge Holland, even though it was an accident, obviously he's the one that broke Biggie's neck. I don't think you reward him with an absolute win right on the biggest stage of them all.
He got a win? I didn't even realize
he got. Not only did he get the win, but he got the pin, and the New Day was actually dressed as Biggie as a tribute. I just thought that was a little bit tone deaf. I have no heat with the Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Butch, whatever the gangs of New York or whatever the gimmick they're doing. I got no heat with that.
Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, they don't need to do like that. That felt.
I didn't even realize that
deaf.
was going on. I would think I was making popcorn while that happened.
Yeah, so to have him go over, I know it was an accident, and accidents happen, and when they're in the ring, but it just sent the wrong message to me. But I guess they're like, okay, accidents happen, but we're gonna just keep moving with the way they went. So nothing really more to say about this. Because the next match was another one that stole the show. Pat McAfee defeating Austin Theory with Mr. McMahon. That crowd was going nuts for Pat McAfee. He played for the Colts. He didn't pay for the Cowboys.
Way surprised by this match. I hadn't been watching the podcast, so I didn't have a whole lot of Pat McAfee background.
Oh, man.
And then as this was going on, I realized they're doing a podcast gimmick.
Yeah.
They're doing a podcast gimmick.
Yeah.
And I was like, even when he put on the headset and was cutting a promo on the headset.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. Another good one. So here's what I'm seeing is the emerging pattern is that WWE is now figuring something out. They're kind of evolving. If they stick to this, or if this is going to be a thing, they've realized that celebrities on WWE like get ratings. People like them, and they're making it work now.
Yeah, and the celebrities aren't just going out there and doing really bad taking bad bumps and doing bad slaps. You're finding these celebrities that are athletic AF, and they're just literally going out there and having great matches. And the psychology is Pat McAfee understands the psychology. Like, he had the crowd, and he was selling properly. He was doing everything right for Austin Theory, who I thought was a throwaway. And, for a shoot, they think he's going to be the next John Cena. And to me, it's just like, it's not. But tonight, he won me over on this night. He won me over, and it had a lot to do with Pat McAfee. But yeah, so just to go back a little bit, I'm calling it now. WWE will team with Jackass Crew to do more dangerous stunts like blow up cars and McGregor stunts attacking opponents. I agree. I think they're, like I said, they're going to do more about that. And JJ said they killed my Pete Dunne. The bruiserweight is no longer, he is now Butch, which apparently that was his nickname. I don't know, but again, yeah, it was still a thumbs up even when there was some glaring stuff. But
it's a shame Andy Kaufman is not alive right now, or maybe if he's alive, this would be a good time to come back, because now it's like they're realizing inviting celebrities to come do pro wrestling is a good thing that they can actually do successfully. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like he was the trendsetter. Like, he risked it and and some would say ruined his career in the sense by doing what these guys are doing now and getting over with.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his time.
He was way ahead of his time. So, but yeah, Pat McAfee. I like that they just said, "What, bro? What should I wear, boss? What should I wear? What do you think I should wear for my match?" Well, Pat, you can just wear what you wear on the podcast, and we'll throw a little glitter on it. We'll give it a little shine.
Makes perfect sense to me.
It's just like with the same tank top and pants he wears for that, and his gold chain, and it was great. And he's athletic. He had a great match with Adam Cole, so I knew he was going to be athletic. And that podcast is just good stuff. I feel like he's slowly overtaking the bro podcast to go to, because Joe Rogan has become a little bit polarizing. So everyone's going to go now to
I
Pat
started
McAfee.
watching it finally.
Yeah, it's good, man.
It's good. And he's a little bit, it's he's got the standing desk gimmick.
Yeah, and he just paces a lot.
I like that.
Yeah, it works. So it was good. And here's where I was confused. So right after this, Pat and again, Austin Theory, JJ said he's a mark from. He won me over that night, and I'll explain it why. I obviously the helping, the selling, and working the crowd. But this next thing caught me completely off guard. Completely off guard. I don't know if you saw this coming, because you knew Vince. Like, Vince doesn't hardly do anything anymore. So I thought Vince was just being Vince, saying, "I'm going to take off my jacket. No, I'm not going to give you guys a match." Okay, and he slowly started and then when he took off his shirt and he had the classic Vince tank top there, so I was like, Vince is really gonna get in the ring and have a match? Like, did you see this coming?
Well, I had heard rumors about it on.
I was completely caught off guard, and I was like, wow, this is weird, because now they're gonna do this, and then it's like in having a match, and they're clear what they were gonna do, right? It's just Austin Theory was gonna beat the crap out of him and get his revenge, and Vince was going to take the 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, oh man, Pat McAfee was so over. How are you going to do this and ruin it, and risk taking that shine off and throwing the crowd off right before the main event? And Vince is finally starting to look a little bit like he's still in great shape, but finally this guy is human, because before no one thought he was human. But then, and I was talking to Mike, he's like, I smell a stunner, and it just hit me. Oh, wait, is Stone Cold still there? And still, as soon as I heard that and that glass broke, you're like, oh, man, and that place came unglued. And then you realize, I got duped. WWE, when they do it right, they do it so right, and it's so great. And it was just like, it was perfect nostalgia, even though it was the worst stunner bump. Like, he overtook Linda and Donald Trump for taking the worst stunner bump. He took the first one, he took it to shits, and this last one, he took it to shits. But, man, it was so good.
Still worked 100%.
It still did, because
no
Stone Cold
what,
laughing actually made it work. Stone Cold walking away laughing like, oh, my God, I can't believe that bump he took was the shits. It was just, it worked so well, and that crowd ate it up. It was great. I got no complaints. It felt like they had a lot of WrestleMania moments, and I feel like the last few WrestleManias, that's what they've been lacking. They always push these moments. It's all these moments, WrestleMania moments. But they've been lacking those moments. And this one, over 2 nights, they had tons of them. They had tons of WrestleMania moments with celebrities to get that type of press. And not just the celebrities, but with the legitimate, crowd favorites with Cody Rhodes. I think it's just they had all these moments and it worked so well.
I'm trying to find that moment. Pat McAfee passed out drinking the beer.
Oh man, that was so good. I popped on that and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I got to have that as a GIF," cuz he was just when you knew it was coming, he's like, "Oh, cool, he's going to do the cheer." Yeah, there it is. Oh my god, how awesome is that? That just worked. Yeah, he's smart to the business, man. He's smart to the business and he knew how to work it and he did it and it was great. And then even Stone Cold laughing, and you're almost made it okay. It's like, okay, you just stunned the guy who was over with the crowd and won. Because if that was anybody else, you ran the risk. Like Pat McAfee was so over with that crowd. If Stone Cold gave him the stunner, they could say, oh man, is Stone Cold turning heel? But he was so buzzed because by then he was already down like 10 or 12 beers. And he just started laughing the whole time. I was like, it just worked. Everything about it worked. And it was great because it sucked with people who paid all that money to go see WrestleMania, like, oh, I'm only going to night 2. They don't get to. You basically got great Stone Cold moments on both nights.
You called it. Got to give him Stone Cold both nights.
Yeah, and they did it, and it worked out well. And then the last match was Roman Reigns defeating Brock Lesnar. They called it the winner takes all, the biggest match of all time, which it's not. These guys wrestled each other before, but it was a great. Here's the thing. Brock Lesnar does not have bad matches. You notice that? Because you know why? There's always a sense of danger when somebody's wrestling Brock Lesnar. There's always a sense of danger that he's going to turn into UFC Brock Lesnar, knowing how strong he is. There's always a sense of danger, even if it's Roman Reigns, that something crazy could happen. And something crazy did happen because Brock Lesnar lost, and he lost pretty quick, and people were confused. And then did you hear Roman, when the camera got really close, he said, it's out, it's out. They think for a shoot, Brock Lesnar legitimately ripped his shoulder out of his socket.
Yeah, I did hear that.
And that's why they went home. It was weird that you just kind of went home with one spear because you think something like Brock Lesnar is going to need 3. But again, that's why his matches are so good. There's a real sense of combat danger, not Goldberg, I'm going to drop you on your head danger. So, I mean, I'm okay with the longer somebody keeps the belt, the more worth it's going to have. And Roman's had that belt for a long time. When he loses that belt, people are going to lose their minds. And if it's Cody, forget it. Whatever roof they're under is going to blow off.
I think it's a good idea. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a hot property now with Cody. You've got something that people are interested in, and you've got something that is actually going to pull AEW eyes over.
Yeah,
they have not had that in 3 years.
Yeah, they can.
So do some, and I feel like WWE is pretty haphazard with the title. They'll just they'll just switch it whenever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know. Roman's had forever, and that's they got to save that. But who else are they going to give it to? It makes perfect. Give it to Cody. It makes sense.
Yeah. Now that if Brock takes a little bit of a break, give it to Cody. I totally agree. Renato saying any other finish is looking good as iconic as a stunner. I got to say the RKO. I mean, it's the RKO out of nowhere became a meme for so long. I think the whole thing about what makes a finish. This could be a little sidebar. What makes a finishing move iconic? And here it is. It's the suddenness. It's the suddenness. Yep. Because you think back to all the finishers that are like, boom, DDT, Diamond Cutter, Stunner, RKO. They're all very similar. It's just grab them, drop them. It's that suddenness where quicker than a hiccup, you could be out cold. So sometimes less is more, and having, obviously the F5, Lesnar's finish looks great, but only Lesnar can do that because he's going to be the guy that's strong enough to pick up anybody over his head and do that. I mean, he's done it to Big Show. He's done it to Braun Strowman. But the suddenness. And did you know that Jake's DDT, the finisher, was actually an accident?
No.
So he used to wear these pants to the ring, similar to the pants that I wore. obviously way before. And he put the guy in a front face lock, and he started to try to walk backwards. The guy tried to push him backwards. So Jake stepped to the side, but then tripped and basically brought him down on his head. And he said the crowd reaction was like, oh, like it was a legit shoot. And then he's like, I got something. And then he came up with the DDT. And it's just the suddenness. Diamond Dallas Page, RKOs. It's that out of nowhere suddenness is what makes a finisher great. And stunner. Boot to the gut stunner. It can happen to anybody. And that brings us full circle why Austin Theory won me over that night. Like we talked about Kevin Owens. We know he's a vet. He knows that he's going to bump all over the place. But that bump that Austin Theory took for that stunner, I was like, okay, this kid's starting to win me over. Because like his feet were flailing in the air and he went flying. And I was like, that's great. And the way he sold that bump, he won me over that night. And then even watching him the next night on Raw, that A-Town down or whatever he says, I was like, okay, cool. I was holding it against you that you were a lethal Lothario and then you were one of Seth's acolytes. But I like this Mr. McMahon protege. I think this is going to really work. So, but all in all, great WrestleMania. Best WrestleMania they had in a long time. Sorry we didn't go because you burned us last time.
That's on them.
Yeah, that's on them. Oh, and then we also had a pretty choked up moment. We had 2 choke up moments. Obviously, The Undertaker retiring officially. For me, the choke out moment was Triple H just came out to introduce WrestleMania, but then you realize that the office was doing him a favor, and he left his boots in the ring, and that shows he's done. And that was just like, that's, as much as the game gets, and, people said, Triple H never drew money. He always worked the guys that drew the money. But Triple H is a historian. I always, when he created NXT, turned NXT into what it is, he's was going to be the heir apparent. So to go out like that, I mean, he almost legit died. So knowing that he almost legitimately was about to be on life support, and then his WrestleMania moment was introducing the show and putting his boots in the ring, that one got me.
Yeah, man, it was good.
Mad respect that night. And even all the notes I gave were all pretty minor because for the first time in a long time after WrestleMania, I was looking forward to Monday Night Raw. I still fast forwarded some stuff, but there was a lot of good stuff.
It's really long. There's a lot of commercials.
Yeah, so all in all, but speaking of, we almost hit the 3-hour mark. We were close.
We're almost at 3 hours. Yeah, it's been. Did you get Doctor Strange tickets?
Shit, that went on sale today. We should buy them right now.
All right, buying them live on air.
You're gonna buy
That's
them.
a good gimmick, and then we'll hit the 3-hour mark, and we'll call it there.
Yeah. Shit, I'm glad you reminded me of that.
You see, what's happening now is the fear that Marvel is instilling in you.
Yes, it did. I am. You sense much fear in me.
Marvel is now threatening us if we don't buy tickets to the first showing of the movie that when it comes out, because if you don't see it immediately, it will be spoiled for you immediately.
Yeah, and it is going to be. Okay. 6:05. 6:05 on Thursday. Oh, what do you mean you don't recognize my face? Come on, Apple. You don't recognize me through the mask? Oh, Cinemark app, don't crash. It's like some luchadors on your phone. Yeah, Triple H is definitely one of the best heels. And when he was a babyface, he was pretty. He was a student of the game, man. He was just a great worker. Oh, that's the other movie I wanted to talk about. We were going to talk about Nicolas Cage, and we were going to talk about Renato's movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Going to see that Saturday as well.
I want to see that. I might watch it immediately after this podcast.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got that. So apparently, Cinemark is not going to let me buy my tickets because they think some guy in a mask is on my phone trying to buy tickets under my account.
It's a vaguely ethnic guy in a mask.
Every time I hit enter password, it just crashes. So, I can. Yeah, I will be buying tickets right after that. I will be buying. So, my Marvel strategy, especially, and I just did it for No Way Home, is you see it twice in the weekend. You get the first one out of the way, Thursday, so you're spoiler free. And then you go to Alamo, so you get to enjoy the awesome pre-show and see that one second. I might enjoy a nice brunch on Alamo. Maybe do it Sunday.
I like breakfast movies. I like seeing it early in the morning.
Dude,
it's good.
Another prop. Again, I've been trying to branch out. I went and saw Jujutsu Kaisen 0.
How was that?
For breakfast. It was awesome. It was great. It was so good. You see my shirt. I'm a huge fan of, like, I don't watch a ton of anime, but I'm a big fan of One Punch Man. I love One Punch Man. Yeah, I'm in. And it was good. Their storytelling is always so rich. And the backstories they have, and the heels, and the baby faces, and the turns, and the sense of danger that's always in there. But Jujutsu Kaisen was really good. So, and Renato, while we're talking about everything, everywhere, all at once, we never even got to talk about our Weird Wednesday stream that we went to with the we got to see the mystery film.
Oh, right. That was awesome.
It was based on Everything Everywhere All at Once. Michelle Yeoh.
What was it called? Magnificent Warriors.
Magnificent Warriors.
It's crazy. I wanted to talk about that too because I was gonna point out to you that those Hong Kong action movies from I guess it was probably the late 80s, early 90s. They're cut so fast.
So fast. That movie was like so freaking fast.
It's just cut super fast.
Yeah, I didn't really totally understand what you meant by cut fast until I saw that. And knowing that, they had a special print for it. And I never, I went when Hateful Eight was on 70 millimeter. I don't really think about when they're doing, when they're presenting it in 35 and you talk about watching it on film. I knew that one, the 70 millimeter, but these ones, they have these prints, right? That's put on by the, what's it called? America Genre Film Archive. That put that on, and they do Terror Tuesdays and they do Weird Wednesdays. So this was the first time they had the incident like in a movie where it broke.
Yeah, the film broke.
Yeah, the film broke, and it was just like, and then
that's fun. It's like an audience bonding experience.
It is, because you didn't realize how into the film you were. Even this crazy Michelle Yeoh film from 1987, how much you were into it until you're like, oh crap, I need to know what happens. And so what do? They literally just have to glue it and try to guess where it broke?
Well, they know exactly where it broke because it's split, right? So they just grab the two ends and they glue them back together.
Oh, man.
I think they've got like some kind of tape.
That they do that with?
Yeah.
And then they have to try to see where they left off to make sure they play. Because I feel like they jumped ahead or something. Like I feel like we missed a part.
Yeah, I mean, it probably gets a little bit off, or either that or they just had to jump to the next reel. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's what they did. And remember Robert?
Because they did get it back on pretty fast.
Remember Robert tried that gimmick in Grindhouse, right? When he did.
But this was a shoot.
Planet Terror. But yeah, he tried to work it, and he did a way jump ahead when he did it. But yeah, this was a shoot, and that's what made it feel. I felt the real sense of danger. I was like, holy crap, the film broke. What do we do? What do we do here, man? Like does everybody panic? Like you just had to wait. So I don't know. Have you ever worked a projector like that?
I've never been a projectionist, no. But, yeah.
That's why I missed
it. Used to be a trade, like a real trade. That
a legitimate trade. Yeah. And if you, again, RIP to Alamo at the Ritz, that it's gone now, that you go in that projector room and you realize oh man, I work in technology and I have no idea what the hell's going on up here. And I love that they always give the AGFA guys always give the shout out to the projectionists. But we haven't struck out there in a while. Like we saw that Magnificent Warriors. Obviously, we knew Jason X was going to be a slam dunk because that was Warner. And then we got Satan Claus is Coming to Town, right?
That was awesome. That was good too. The Christmas mix.
Yeah, I mean they've been props to them. Like they've been pulling out some gems.
We should bounce on this podcast and go watch Weird Wednesday right now.
What's playing?
It's a double team with Van Damme and Rodman.
Oh shit! Really? Maybe we should do that. What time does it start?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Well, maybe we do that. Maybe we end the podcast and go watch it.
All right. Well, this has been an excellent podcast.
Yeah. Pod stream, whatever you call it. We hit the 3-hour mark, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. We're 3 hours, 4 minutes, 12 seconds. Here we go. We're gonna run out and catch it. So thank you. We'll be back next week, and we'll be talking about stuff. And we'll be drinking beer. 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, and a vodka. Bloody Mary.
Good enough. See ya.